time is now.
NUFC Early Night News with Gary the Geordie Yum Yum, Andrew Bokey, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Good evening, one and all. How are we all this evening? Tuesday evening, obviously, we are going to be talking all about Newcastle, as always, and we're going to have Martin in around about 8:30 from the Mancunian way, who's going to obviously give us a deep dive into the Manchester City team, because obviously they've got very similar issues to Newcastle at the minute with plenty of injuries. So we're going to be involved in all that. And obviously, you've got the usual crew, myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, we've got the Mighty Weird, we've got Bokey, and we've also got Christina Tooney. So I've just been having a look at YouTube and I realised that the screen hadn't got across as per normal. We are now. So here we go. But before we do all that, I suppose we better crack on with the housework. So welcome to all that's watching. Thanks to everybody that's out there in the background that does all the work for us. Thank you ever so much for doing what you do. If you guys out in Viewerland, or if you're in your car listening to us on DAB, if you wouldn't be so kind to do the following 3 things for us when you have the opportunity. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. It certainly helps us as a channel, and it'll help you get notifications as and when we go live. Always live, never edited. Remember that. If you want to become a member, obviously you have got an opportunity to become a member for $4.99. That gets you all behind the scenes views on past stuff that we've done. Also, it'll give you a little bit more of an opportunity to come on board with all the new stuff coming your way. So welcome on board with all that. So again, if you've got a question for either of us in the panel, then throw a Q in front of it. If you want to guarantee it now, then throw us a super chat. That will also guarantee that message read out. Anybody that becomes a member during the show, or any of our beautiful members that highlight them out there, will be highlighted and thanked as we go. So where are we?
And incidentally, Gary, we'll be doing a town hall special, town hall forum for all members. It's a members only show at 7 o'clock on Friday night, before one night with a tune. So that'll be for any members to come in, give your views on anything you'd like to see us do, or that you don't like that we do, etc., etc., etc. So join us at 7 o'clock for an open forum for members only on Friday night.
Thanks, Andy, for becoming a member. Celebrating his 21 months of membership. Hope you're well, Gary. You're a legend. Thanks, matey. You're a star.
Andy.
And welcome, obviously, everybody else that's on board. Nut, Lee, Mags, Carlton, welcome one and all. And the rest of you guys that are in the background watching. Like I say, we had the presser today, and we were just saying it was probably the first time since I've been watching the pressers and doing the post-press and their reaction, where we used to do it live, where it looked like Eddie was looking a little bit uncomfortable at times. He had a few questions thrown at him that he seemed to swerve and stutter and swallow twice and before making his so-called comment. And what made me laugh was when he mentioned about, I have to be careful what I say here. As you just said there, when we were in the back room, in the green room, Win, you believe it's turning. The worm is turning, was your words just. Is that something you believe, or is that just something that you think?
I think it's been evident in the last few presses, where instead of just getting sort of bland, what did you have for breakfast questions, he's being asked some serious questions now. And I think that's right and proper, given the circumstances that we're in.
Yeah.
And he's not quite as comfortable. We've been saying for a while now at the pressers that he's not, he doesn't seem as relaxed and smiley as he always has been.
Mm.
And he's under, listen, he knows he's under pressure. Every manager knows that they stand and fall by results. And right now, we're not getting enough good results. And the performances are not what we've become used to under Eddie Howe. You could argue that they are what we're used to now under Eddie Howe.
Under Eddie Howe, yeah, exactly. There's two ways of looking at it, isn't it? I mean, it wasn't so long back that a lot of pundits were, shouting Eddie Howe. He's excellent. I mean, it's only literally against PSV. You heard Gerrard say some really good stuff towards Eddie Howe. But like I said, it does seem to be getting a little bit long in the tooth now. And it just becomes a little bit... I don't know, it's samey. And again, I could understand why fans get frustrated with everything that we're seeing that's happening at the moment. We were talking just, Boki, about how do we go forward as a club? I mean, we know Eddie's got this small pot to choose from. We're going to come into the financial things regarding Newcastle in a minute, because there has been some experts that seem to disagree with Newcastle. But I mean, what's your thoughts on what's happening at Newcastle with what Eddie Howe is looking to achieve?
I think it's bigger than just Eddie Howe. I think it's what Newcastle United are trying to achieve. In regards to, we've heard a lot about PIF and their vision for the club, and where we're going to be in it was 2026 originally, wasn't there? Now it's 2030. But there hasn't been a lot of action yet. Yes, they've spent money on players, but anybody who comes into a Premier League club as an owner, you need to buy players. It's part of football. But there hasn't been we keep getting the rumours of we're getting the new training ground, we're getting a new ground, we're going to start getting the sponsorships in. None of it seems to be happening. It's beginning to get a bit of a worry on a higher level to Eddie Howe in regards to where are they going with this project now? Is it still their priority? Are we still something big for them? Are we still something that they want to be involved in? And I think there are questions as fans that legitimately we can start asking about that. But we're not getting the investment into the squad as such. We're not getting the investment into the training facilities. We're not getting the investment into a new ground. Have they lost interest a little bit? Are they stepping back a little bit? And then bringing it back down to Eddie Howe in regards to the team. As I said last night, I'm sure Eddie would have wanted to have brought a player in this window, at least one. And I think in the press conference, maybe he's a little bit of a forlorn figure in regards to he wasn't, he obviously, but he said he was watching his words. I think what he basically wanted to come out and say was, look, I wanted to sign somebody, I wanted to bring players in. This squad isn't big enough for the amount of competitions we're still in at this point. They should have backed me and they didn't. And, he can't do that because he wants to keep his job. But I think if it keeps going like this, potentially at some point he is going to come out and say the club need either backers or sackers, because in this transfer window they haven't backed him, in my view.
Well, like I say, there's so many ways this story can go. I mean, it's very similar to the Tonali situation, isn't it? It sounds, by this morning, it sounds as though they're going to readdress it in March. Well, if Eddie's statement was that Tonali is happy, Tonali is staying at the club, he wants to give it all at the club. Why are they refocusing on it in March if that's the case? It to me, it's like leaving the door ajar for any player that is interested in going. Tina, I mean, you obviously are very much on the happy side of life, but we've been looking towards a young lad to come in. I mean, Eddie Howe really looked at this lad as if it was the next best thing. Patrick Zarbi. He's set to join Paris FC this summer for £21.5 million. Very good, tall, yah type of player. He's he's one of those lanky type midfielders. But again, it seems as though what's happened now is again, you can look at it from so many different avenues. He wants to stay in France. And like I say, he's set to join Paris FC in the summer. So what is that, because we're just not allowing youngsters a pathway at Newcastle? Or do you think that literally is just the fact that some players will get homesick, some players just don't fancy that move across the pond, if you like, to another country?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably more of it than looking at how much youth's had a chance for us. I mean, from his perspective, I don't think he would have looked at how many minutes under 21 players we've got on the bench have got this season. The most that he probably would have seen would have been Miley's performances this season as a young lad, and he got the captain's armband in the first season where he's really got a run of games. So I think it is probably more to do with he's a young lad. It's a big move to go to a Premier League team. There'll be a lot of expectations. He potentially wouldn't have been able to have been given any sort of guarantee of first team football because, I mean, we've got a senior squad. So I think this is potentially just wanting to spend a bit more time in his own country and, maybe get a bit more experience under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, there's so many different avenues you can, permutate from this lad staying at home, if you like. Craig Hope has talked about Sandro Tonali. He's doing an unpacking. There's echoes of the Isak, but with some key differences. And I'm sure the lads will probably dig deep into that later on. We'll concentrate more on the Manchester City side of things. That's to come tomorrow. The other game is underway. 10 minutes gone. It's still 0-0. And obviously Arsenal still lead on the aggregate. 3-2 is the score. And again, like you say, if you look at Mitchell came and Howe said that summer with links to England, he would only stay if he felt he was backed. That's going what you were saying, Boki. If he didn't feel backed, the only time he would move away to another place, especially if the England job comes calling in the summer, that's obviously when we'll see whether that is true or not. And I suppose up until then, it is just speculation. The other little bit of news I've got coming our way is obviously Lascelles has passed his medical at Leicester, and obviously it's all gone through as we expected.
Done deal, finally.
It is a done deal. Like I say, I'm sure they were just waiting on that to go. Different one that's just come in here. Metro News reporting Newcastle value Tonali between 90 and 100 million and will only depart if these figures are met in the summer. That's apparently in the Metro News. And another little bit of news which doesn't really link into Newcastle, but it was a player that was obviously of interest, and that is Real Madrid centre-back Dean Huyson. This summer, with Real Madrid willing to let him go and recoup the £50 million they spent on him. Real Madrid and some supporters have already turned on him. He was booed by his own fans during the 2-1 win over Rayo Vallecano last time out, and could call time on his Real career after just one season. So there you go. So maybe there'll be something coming from there.
Well, we were certainly interested in him when he went to Real Madrid.
We were. I mean, like I say, I mean, it's crazy. And to think, how much interest, Chris was so keen on trying to even bring Mateta into the club. And yet, like I say, he failed 2 medicals. And where does that leave him now? Because obviously they've brought in Strand Larson now from Wolves, another player that we were very heavily linked to and actually put a bid for of a lot more money than Crystal Palace paid for him.
By the sound, Gary, with Tonali, it doesn't sound like we've put a buyout clause in his contract. when he signed this new contract that was kept very quiet, there
Yeah.
was no sort of like a £100 million maybe buyout clause on it, which would have made life miles easier. We don't want to go into another summer like last one with Isak. So
Yeah, but just
maybe
because
that's what we need to look at, winners, with players like this now. We're all going to get top class players. When we do then offer them new contracts, yes, we might have to pay them a little bit more, but put a buyout clause into the contract so that you get into a situation where a club comes in, you're not going through the whole, as I say, Isak situation again. If they offer the 100 million for him, he goes. If they don't, then he stays. It's quite an easy one then.
Yeah, the only thing is, just because you put a buyout clause in doesn't mean somebody's got to actually bid the buyout clause.
But no, but
that could still mean that you're keeping a player who doesn't want to be here.
But it's set. But no. But if that player signs that contract at that point and it's understood that's the level, that's why they're getting paid the wage they are.
Yeah. I agree with all of that.
And in regards to that, you can turn around to the player and the agent. You can say, look, you've got the buyout clause. If you can get a club to come in and pay it for you, great. We will obviously honour that. We'll have to because it's in your contract. But if you can't, you need to settle down and play for Newcastle.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Right then, this is what Eddie. I'm just going to move on the screen because we're going to come to some financial experts' decisions in a minute. But Eddie Howe on now January signings, financially, it wasn't possible. We are under financial restrictions. We have to be smart and decided to wait until the summer. The decision is that the summer window is a lot easier to recruit. There are more players available and better. That was Eddie Howe on his thoughts regarding this. Let's listen to what Stefan Borson had to say.
Where do we start, Stefan? How long before Newcastle and Aston Villa will be able to shed the shackles of PSR? Or is it here to stay for them? Because at the moment, it's a PSR headache for Villa, and it's a similar one for Newcastle United, who do not feature in the deadline day headline news.
Or is it a similar?
Well, I think that's right. I think Danny's right. Is it? I'm not sure it is for Newcastle right now. I mean, I know that's the message that they've been giving, but the truth is that following the sale of Isak, they've actually got a decent amount of PSR capacity. They do have issues with the UEFA regulations, and they will have some restrictions when it comes when the squad cost ratios come in next season in the Premier League. But I think the two situations at the moment are quite different. And you've got a situation with Newcastle where there's been plenty of opportunities for them to bring in sponsorship and other, particularly Saudi-related commercial partners. And for whatever reason, they've chosen not to. So there's no training ground sponsor. They haven't changed the name of the stadium. There's lots of these things that they could do incrementally. And they've been really quite conservative, certainly in this window. They're going into second half of the season. They've got the semi-final, of course, of the Carabao. They are still in the FA Cup. They've got still a very good chance in the Champions League in the playoff, and yet they've decided to spend zero. Then on top of that, you've got a situation where, although they're in 11th place, we all know what the league table looks like right now in terms of how closely bunched the teams are.
Sure. So
they've got a real shout of Europe, Champions League, and at worst, the Europa. So I think it's really surprising that they're using a PSR excuse for not investing at least something to strengthen the squad.
It's
in January.
bizarre, as Stefan says. They've got two very ambitious managers.
Well, is it bizarre, or have they lost their desire to achieve what they said they were going to do, which was win everything?
Are they as driven without Amanda Staveley? Because it was her, wasn't it, who told you after I think they lost the League Cup finals to Manchester United, their ambition was to win the Champions League. The way they've conducted themselves in the transfer market, even selling Alexander Isak, doesn't suggest a club that are trying to win the Champions League. And I think Eddie Howe actually has been quite measured in continuing to say it's all about PSR. I tend to agree with Stefan. I think there's been a definite changing tact. I was told in the summer that maybe the Saudis weren't quite as committed to Newcastle as they were previously. We've got the chief executive, haven't we, on with us when we're up in Newcastle on Wednesday, and I think we need to put some tough questions to him.
Well, that's right, Stefan.
Right, well, there you go. They've got, obviously, Mr. Hopkinson with them on on Wednesday. It's a shame we're doing the match because I would have liked to have listened to those questions.
Right,
So
we've gone along.
absolutely. So it would have, if anybody's out there that has got an opportunity to record that the interview that they're going to have, then please do and throw it our way because I would be very interested. Right then, gentlemen and lady, what that was for me. That was probably the most telling couple of minutes I've listened to. If I'm honest with you, when you're literally looking to dot the I's and cross the T's. And even like Stefan Borson, he's got no commitment at all either way to what Newcastle do. Still, he's unsure of why there is still no sponsorship at the training ground, the club, stadium, the shirts, training gear, as in shirts. So opportunity missed, obviously. And then obviously he goes in to say that there will be some restrictions regarding European competitions going forward, but at this present moment in time, it ain't there. So what is the answer for Newcastle not going into the market win?
Well, as I said yesterday, I think it's just that they don't want to make the same mistakes that they appeared that it appears they might have made in the summer by getting second choices instead of first choices. However, it does beg the question: what has Ross Wilson been doing? Have we not got any other targets lined up anywhere else? Because as Borky rightly says, we're going to need defensive reinforcements in the summer anyway. So could we not have gone out in January and got those targets? Even if it meant paying a few million extra, which everybody's complaining about us doing. And again, probably rightly so. I don't know. Because certainly, by all the sums that I've ever done, we can afford it. The money is there.
Yeah, well, I can't remember who it was now. And again, I don't know whether it wasn't Stefan. It may have been the other one that does a lot of the Brighton fan. What's his name? It's gone out of my head. One of your mates. If you remember who it was, Win?
I'm not sure what you're on about, guys.
Similar to Stefan Borson, he's one of the guys behind the scenes. He's a Brighton fan. I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. Kieran Maguire. There you go. Kieran Maguire.
Oh.
Thank you, Niall. There you go. He was the one, I think, who said that his figures had Newcastle at sitting around £110 million to spend. Now, as you guys have already mentioned on yesterday evening's show, amortization, that could be 500 plus. But again, you've got the agents and bits and pieces, so you do have to be a little bit careful with where you go on that one. Boki, what's your thoughts, matey, on what you've just heard there? Is it something that shocks you? Is it something that it's something that you expected these specialists to say?
You know what? I don't get why we're not buying players. I don't get why we haven't. As I said last night, and I'm repeating myself, we need defenders. We should have brought one in. I've said that throughout. But in regards to this again, is it showing either a PIF lack of commitment to the club, or is there something else in the background? Are they planning something different? Is there something going on that we as fans don't understand? Because surely even if PIF were thinking of either selling or pulling back the financial commitment to the club, they would still get sponsorship in, surely, for as people they said, the ground, the training ground, the training kits, because it's money, it's free money to them in regards to not having to commit so much to the club. So I think, like most Newcastle fans, I just don't get it. Hopefully, if they're interviewing Hodgkinson on Wednesday, we'll get some answers and there's some communication. And to be fair, I think that's what's needed now. We need the club to come out and tell the fans what's actually happening, because everything is, as I say, the picture's being painted lovely and rosy, but unfortunately, there's no colour to it at the minute. It's just it seems to be a load of sketches, but nobody's actually putting any colour onto the painting at the minute. And that's what we need. We need to start seeing things actually happening. So the transfer window to me this one was a disaster, and I think you can tell by Eddie's body language and the way he spoke about it that he feels the same. He's not happy. So what we need now is for either Wilson or a Hodgkinson and Wilson to come out together and say, look, we didn't spend in this window. Here's the reasons why, and this is our long-term plan moving forward. So, but not sort of, we're going to not paint it sort of 5 years down the line and say, oh, we're going to be here in 5 years' time. Give us sort of, this is what obviously they can't say trophies or things like that, but this is what we expect to happen next season. So this is how we're going to progress then. This is how we'll progress the season after, and give us some sort of time frame to things, rather than I say just keep giving them these, everything will be fine in 5 years, then leak that we're going to get a new training ground, leak we're going to get a new stadium, but never actually come out and tell me what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I can't disagree with everything that you said. What's your thoughts, Tina, before we get into what people have been saying in the chat?
I mean, first of all, the guy who was saying that he's heard that the PIF's no longer interested in Newcastle, I'd love to know who he's heard that from. Like, is this one of those, oh, well, my wife's friend's cousin's brother's sister says that she works with a guy who said, I mean, he definitely has not heard anything about whether PIF are still interested in Newcastle United. It is concerning that they're quite quiet. One train of thought might be seeing how Eddie performs for the rest of the season. Maybe they're considering his position, although I don't think withholding any sort of transfer window movement would be good for that, because surely if you're going to end up judging a manager on his performance, you have to give that manager the best chance to perform. In regards to sponsorships, I mean, for the training ground, I guess we could say maybe they're waiting for the new training ground before they do that. But we do have a lot of area where investment could be made, and I think that comes down to the director of football, like the CEO guy. Like, he should be the one that's getting on top of that. Like, that's surely his job. So again, even though we've had like 2 years of back office shuffles and things that are now supposed to be setting us up for the better, the new back office teams seem to be doing even less for the team in Eddie Howe than the lot that we've replaced were doing.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I wish we had, answers to give you, and like I said, we are as much in the dark as everybody else. I've just had some news, to be fair, so I might as well give you that news now before we go into the chat, because this has just come at me. Mainly from the Geordie Journals reported today that they think Howe and the club are hiding the fact that Miley could have a more serious knee injury that reminds them of a Botman-like injury. He couldn't bend the knee after his knock against PSG. Today, Howe in the presser had no time frame for Miley coming back and was very vague over him. And that is very true. So there you go. According to the Geordie Journals, it could be a little bit more serious than a knock, put it that way.
Just before we bring Martin on, we've got this news that was Premier League put out today, and this is net spend in the last 5 years. And net spend, Newcastle there are fifth on £492 million. Not the 750 million that everybody bandies around. 492 million euros. That's 425 million pounds that we've spent net and
But
that
when
is in the 11 windows since Howe took over.
But when that
No,
is
it's
net,
over the 5
we
years.
have spent 700 million pounds gross. It's just that we've got some money back from other players.
Yeah.
So
Well,
obviously
you
you've got
can't. No, you can't come out and say the 700 million pounds wrong because it's right. It's just that's net spend. So yes, we've sold players. Every club does that. So
but if you sell the players, you can't use them.
we have spent 700 million pounds on players.
Yeah, but I think what this shows you more than anything else, I mean, even, we're above Liverpool and Man City. And I think what this shows me more than anything else is the fact that we need to sell players. We need to be very good in the market on the selling side. It's something that this club has never really got to grips with. And I think that is what Mitchell was really on about when he says, you're not selling players at the right time. You're letting players literally run down the contract and they virtually walk out the door, either retired, on crutches, or free agents. And that's something that you can't do.
Can I just say quickly on this as well, Gary? Just on net spend as well, you've got to be careful because that 400 and whatever it is million pound that we've spent, net spend, it would include the purchase of Isak and the sale of Isak.
That's
So,
it.
you've got the same player in there twice for two different things. So so if we're using that, it's a tricky one. I think what you need to look at is how much we've spent on players, and the amount we've actually spent on players is 700 million pounds.
And the point I'm making is what we have spent on players since the takeover is 400. What Saudi have spent is 492 million. That's
What
just
they've
over,
spent on what they've
over
spent on
40
players.
million.
What they've spent on players is 700 million pounds. They've sold players, and
Right.
that's
So what it's cost
that's the
Saudi.
difference.
What it's cost Saudi is 492 million euros. 425 million pound. That's what it's cost Saudi.
But if you see that,
And I'm saying cost Saudi
but no,
because this is the other thing. Our wage spend right now.
But some people will think with these figures.
It is like 120 million a year. We are getting that 120 million pound a year and have done since Saudi took over. We are getting that money from TV revenue and various other sources. And on top of all of that, we've got so in other words, if you like profit, if you take what our net revenue now is, which is close on 400 million, we're spending 130, 140 million on wages, which gives a surplus of 200 and odd million, and we've only spent 40 million, well, 80 million a year, 40 million a window of that on players. And that's from a starting point of a relegation squad.
So what point are you trying to prove with this win? Where are we saying that Saudi haven't spent enough money on players? That 700 million pound isn't enough money for them to have spent on players?
What I'm saying is they haven't spent any more. They haven't even spent as much as they could have spent. Because bear in mind, when they took over, we had that 100 million nest egg that Ashley left us by not having spent anything for the 3 years. So they had that 100 million plus any money they've made since then. And if you do all the sums, you're looking at a considerable amount of money. You're talking in, 200-300 million by my reckoning. So that's what we should have available to spend.
Well, that's fine, but as I say, I mean, I don't want to go through figures all night, but in regards to this, either the wage structure or the net spend or the gross spend that we've done on players, every one of those statistics show that we should be higher up the Premier League. So if you're using the figures, you've got to use the figure where we are. Whereabouts are we there in regards to spending on wages in the Premier League?
8.
Whereabouts are we net spend on in the Premier League, and whereabouts are we gross spend in the Premier League? All well above wherever we are now, 11th in the Premier League.
Gross spend 1/9.
Right, So every statistic shows we should be higher up the Premier League. If you're using
gross
statistics,
spend 1/9 and wages were 8th.
I'm
That's where
saying
we
in
should
which case-
be.
but we're not there. That's what I'm saying. So if you're using statistics, we're not where we should be.
Not right at this
Well,
very moment in time, we're not.
hold on. Because that's not taking into account, like, where they're coming from. Like, when we started counting when this money is being spent from,
Yeah.
that's from a relegation side who were in the relegation zone when the new owners took over. And I mean, I'm clearly, from the fact that my eyes have just crisscrossed that whole financial conversation that you guys have just eloquently had, and from my reckoning, it's much easier to spend less on a team that's had 10 years of Premier League football, higher position finishes in Premier League football, and European qualification than it is, it's going to cost you more to build from a team that was relegated twice in its last 2 years and haven't had a sniff of European football since I was still in primary school. You're talking about a different starting block.
But I think what you have to think about, Christina, is now though that we're not a relegation threatened team. We haven't been
No,
now.
but we were when they started counting
No,
this.
but we haven't been for 4 or 5 years now. So we're in a different place to where we were, and now that we've spent, that we've spent,
You're right. We've been overachieving. But anyway, welcome Martin from the Mancunian way. How are you doing, Sunshine?
Oh, been better the way everyone's complaining in our fan base at the minute.
Yeah, it's not looking bad, but it's not looking good. Actually, Pep's record is almost as bad as Eddie's record in terms of points lost from winning positions.
Yeah, very confusing at the minute. Very, very confusing. But the fan base is all confused. Everyone's infighting. There's civil war everywhere.
Join the clan.
I can't believe that we've got people in Manchester talking about getting Pep out the door, mate.
Yeah, that is crazy. They want Rodri sold, Foden sold, Haaland sold, Pep out. It's crazy.
It is mad. I mean, you've had one really dodgy season, in his tenure, and all of a sudden they're turning the backs. You can imagine what it's like for us lot.
Well, it's a lot of the online lot. It's a lot of the online lot that are doing it.
Keyboard warriors.
Fans. There's nobody in the stadium doing that.
Well, similar to Newcastle.
No one in the stadium
exactly
doing that.
The same as at the Toon.
The online lot are just loud, and trouble is the loudest. The loudest are always the people who talk crap.
Let's do this super chat that I highlighted, but I didn't mention. Darren Mills, thank you ever so much, sir, for your £5 donation. As Eddie Howe said, every financial decision impacts us down the line, so we need to be ultra careful on our layouts. You lot need to stop being melodramatic, says Darren. I don't think I was being melodramatic. I just question. For me, I agree. There's got every chance of it impacting. If we don't go silly, we've got every chance of impacting Europe competition next year if we get there. But before we go on to Manchester City and go, I just want to point out, obviously what you guys are talking about, but I don't want to go over, already done. I think what we also forget is when we were in that relegation zone, we didn't have players that were sellable. We've bought in players and we've just kept on bringing these players in with an already poor side that was a relegation side, or certainly a relegation form side. So there's never really been the financial clout to move them players on to balance the books anyway. We're not in a position as Manchester City are. We're not in Arsenal position. We're not a Manchester United who just seem to be throwing good money after bad. So, I look at it and I think to myself, that's £700, 700 million, 400 million, doesn't matter what it is, that's peanuts from starting from scratch. So, because we haven't been able to sell. So I think that the argument about the money itself, I don't think is viable to be just thrown at anybody and said, well, we should be in the top 5 because we spent 700 million in 5 years. That's less than 200 million a year. You know what I mean? Well, it's crazy.
11 windows it is.
11. Well, 11 windows. If you want to go through the 11 windows, it's ridiculous. Martin, let's. I'll tell you what. Let's do some of the shares because I'd starred a couple in the chat, and there were some quite decent ones. So, John now said the Saudi League is our Trump hand that we refuse to use. All those players or owners own. How can CFC take players and the manager from Strasbourg, yet we can't or won't take them from a Saudi club as well? We mentioned that young lad that obviously is going to Atletico Madrid, it's obviously owned by PIF. Maybe there's some constraints. Maybe there's been some agreement, like we said before, about them coming into the Premier League. Maybe it's something that they can't do. I don't know whether there's been something there. Giono also said Barcelona have been broke for 5 years. They buy stars every summer. Elite clubs always find a way. We are accepting mediocrity as a norm, and it's infuriating. Foxy says here, we are to PIF what Strasbourg is to Blueco. Lol. Saudi Pro League comes first with the World Cup in 34.
I mean, can I just answer that? Sorry.
Yes.
It was something I heard the other day, and thank you for having me, by the way.
It's a pleasure, mate.
I was listening to Ben Jacobs last week, and he said PIF are trying to sell all them clubs anyway. I think that's why Newcastle have never gone down that road. They're trying to get rid of them all. Within the next 4 months to next 2 years, they're all going to be gone.
Oh,
I think that's why, because they're publicly asking for investors to go in and buy them already. So I don't think they'll own them 4 clubs very soon. They'll all be gone. So I don't think there is a long-term
take on Ronaldo's club at half.
I don't think there is a long-term goal to use them because I don't think there's a long-term goal to have that connection with any of them.
No, but the way I look at that though, Martin, is the fact that while you've still got hold of them, surely there's an avenue to go and pick off any decent cherries that is on the tree.
There is, but it depends how long you want them for. Because if they sell it up in the next 12 months, that contract has to change then. Because then the new owners will say, we want it back.
Yeah, I mean,
it depends what you're doing it for. Are you doing it for a 6 month? Are you doing it for 12 months? Are you doing it? It depends how you want to do it, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, there was a young lad that I thought looked very interesting, to be fair. Marcus Leonardo. I mean, he was at Al Hilal. And he's going to Atletico Madrid for like a loan for the rest of the season, then with the option to buy at the end of that. So, like I said, it just seemed as though there was an option there if Newcastle wanted to go down a line, if you like. Golfing Geordie has said every penny counts for PSR, yet we are still talking sponsorship deals, but instead we will laugh more retro shirts or for fans to subside the PSR. And I think, that it just seems a bit crazy, the fact that we are bringing out retro style gear. And somebody mentioned the other day that Adidas might even turn their backs on us. With the amount of shirt sales that have gone through from that retro era, literally sold within, I think, 2 hours. I mean, a lot of it's still on eBay, going for crazy money, I must admit. And John said here about Daryl Bacola, the 18-year-old baller we're linked from Marseille, moved yesterday for 10 million euros. You can't tell me there wasn't value for money to be had. And I think that's what goes regarding what, talking about Manchester City. The business that Manchester City do with their academy is phenomenal, mate. You guys can bring in £90 million without any of them lads kicking a ball for Man City.
Well, we just sold Oscar Bob for just under 30 million quid with a matching fee and a 20% buy on as well, sell on to wherever they go. City do the deal, so even 5 years down the road, they're still making money out of this deal. They're forever making money. That's the goal of it. So when they sell a player, it's not just there's the cash, there's a sell on, there's a matching, there's a buyback, there's everything they can get involved in it. So they're always making money.
Yeah, it's
that's the way it has to be done. And there's loads in the academy. I mean, that was everyone I mean, my God, the amount of debates I've had over Cole Palmer. But at the time, he'd played 900 minutes for Manchester City and we sold him for nearly 50 million quid.
Mm.
It was a no-brainer of a deal at that point. There are going to be youngsters you are going to lose and you'll look back and go, oh, I wish I had them. But unfortunately for Manchester City, we're not in a place to give these youngsters to go.
Yeah, but Martin,
we're here to win now, not win in 5-10 years.
5 years.
Yeah, we want to win now.
In the last, let's say, 5 years since you've become properly established, if you look at all the players you've sold from your academy, how many of those realistically would ever have made it into your first team? Cole Palmer, I'll give you
2, probably him and Morgan Rogers. But at the time, Morgan Rogers he had to go to Middlesbrough and Blackpool before he even got anywhere near. He had to go on 2 moves ahead. Then he went to Aston Villa and became the player.
Yeah.
The trouble, this is the problem. We haven't got 3 or 4 years to develop somebody. Because the reason Oscar Bob left is because he wanted to play.
Yeah.
Rico Lewis is the same. Rico Lewis will get foul of this in the summer. He will end up going somewhere. But it's 30, it'll be 35 million. But City are clever. Where we accepted a bid of around 35 million from Forest for Rico Lewis in the summer. Rico turned it down and we gave him an extension. And everyone in the fan base melted down over it. Why are we giving him a new extension? What we did is he already had a 4-year deal. We gave him an additional year to cover the year he's staying. So his market value doesn't go down. Yep. That market value stays the same. It's worth City giving him a $5,000 pay rise and extending him for a further year and then still get 35-40 million again in the summer. So you've not lost anything. You're not losing that year off the contract. You're not losing. It's a little bit of wages. That's it. So you've got to be a bit clever with it. But again, we went and got Sabinho out of our CFG group because he wasn't actually bought from Girona. He was bought from was it Lamel? Where Troy? One of them. Troy, Lamel, somewhere where we are involved in, and we bought him for 20 million. You thought we'd signed a guy who it was the plague of football, the way people talk about him. He's the Antichrist in our fan base, Sabinho. Can't cross, can't score, can't run, can't do this. And you're like, he's 20 years old, 21. Because the trouble was, you had the Rodrigo thing. This is the problem with footballers now. Everyone, you want the kids, or do you want a Rodrigo from Real Madrid? All the online lot are going to always go for the Rodrigo because they all sit playing the FIFA with the controllers in their hand going, Rodrigo's a name. Great. But they don't look at, does he fit into the team? Does he get goals? Does he get assists? And he doesn't. Sabinho actually gets more G&A than Rodrigo does. But because he's the name, you all want him in.
Yeah, I think Eddie Howe must play FIFA, mate, because I think he's he gets more GA from his front three on FM than he does in real life. I'll tell you now.
Crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, going on. I mean, listen. All big teams, all elite clubs, have to have a big academy. It's just one of those things. Like you say, to get the top cream of the youngsters these days, there's got to be, there's got to be something there for them. Man City have won lots of trophies. It lights the kids' eyes up, even if they don't make it. Like you said, what Manchester City are very good at doing is business, and that's when they sell a player, even if he hasn't donned the Etihad Stadium regarding football, he'll move on to another club with a buyback clause, with a sell-on clause, with so many other different clauses. Newcastle have never been in that position ever. So, for us now, we are, we talk about finances and everything else, and everybody does get a little bit, etchy when it comes to, we've spent 700 million. How much money have Manchester City spent before you won 2 or 3 Premier Leagues?
A lot.
Well, it was different because the market values were very different.
Totally, I'm going to say, yeah, absolutely.
Not being funny, we bought Vinny Company for £6 million.
6 million. Yeah, exactly.
We bought Pablo Zabaleta for £4 million. I know everyone thinks, we spent 50 million everywhere. It was different because at the time we had to buy win now. We had to buy players that were better. So we had to go for the Adebayors, the Nasris, the Roque Santa Cruz at the time, who was balling out for Blackburn. We spent 90 million on him. But then there was also the other ones that we brought in. It wasn't really until Mancini's first season when we went for the Yayas and the David Silvas and the Agueros. And none of them were world class at the time. There were still punts in a long way. Yaya was sitting on the bench at Barcelona or playing centre back. David Silva, people were hovering around him. United was sniffing around him all the time. Real Madrid had a little look. Barcelona had a look. City were the only one. 25 million quid. David Silva was 25 million quid.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When you sit back and you go, that's, for me, he's the greatest ever footballer I've seen laced a pair of boots. And he was 25
still going.
million. Aguero was 27 million. He's our all-time top goal scorer. It's, even, dare I say it, Erling Haaland was 52 million.
Hey, there's a lot of people not happy with Erling now, Pep being one of them. What's going on there?
Yeah, 30 goals a season is not good enough. They want 100.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
He's already at 30 in January, and everyone's complaining about because he's having a bit of a goal drought and all sorts. But I mean, going back to
that's the thing about Erling, isn't it? If he isn't scoring goals,
he doesn't have to do much more. No, he's not. The trouble is when they're always comparing him to Aguero, he's not Aguero.
Yeah, well, I know
he's
that.
Not Aguero. He's not a guy who'll come back, hold the ball up, work, drop into midfield. He's not. And I keep saying this to everyone. Our first choice was Harry Kane. It wasn't even Haaland.
Yeah.
First choice was Kane for that very reason, because he does drop into midfield. He does hold the ball up. Because that was the one thing Kane was criticised for England. That everyone kept saying, why is he in midfield? They don't want him holding the ball up. They want somebody else holding the ball up to kick it to Kane. So he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, Haaland.
Yeah.
Can't win. The guy's a goal scorer. But just back to the academy, City have made 275 million quid on the academy in the last 5 years. Just in
crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And some of the names that are in there, I mean, half of it's in the Chelsea team now, because the whole of Chelsea's made up of City's youngsters now because of Joe Shields. I mean, I was talking to a mate of mine the other day and I was naming some of the players. He didn't even know they were from us. I was mentioning Sancho, I was mentioning Tosin Adebayor, I was mentioning half of them. And I said, Brahim Diaz, who's rolling around in bloody Real Madrid at the minute, from our academy. We bought him as a kid.
Yeah.
But, I mean, listen, the stories I've got in the academy, that United team in the 99 was made up of City's academy. That's where Ryan Giggs, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes all came from. You just don't hear about it because it doesn't suit the media narrative.
Yeah, of course. You listen, mate, you've got loads of injuries. Obviously, Cherki is the latest one, and Doku, who seemed to cause us loads of trouble in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi. Cherki seems to be doing a light fitness test for whether he's going to be fit. I mean, obviously, do you think you're going to really miss Doku? Now you've got Semenyo in your side and Gahey on your side.
Gahey can't play tomorrow.
No.
Which is weird because he can't even play in the final either, which is a bit weird. But hey ho, if we make it.
Why is that?
Because you've got to have, because in the final, you've got to have registered him in the semi-final. The final. But he can't play in the semi-final because he wasn't registered in the first leg. It's very weird how these rules come in.
It's a crazy rule because you can play for two teams in the same season.
But you have to be registered for the two.
But you've got to be registered before the semi-final starts.
Because the first leg and the second leg count as one game in the registration eyes.
It's mental. It really is. I think the change in these rules have just scuppered everybody. If I'm
Well,
honest with you.
hang on though. That wouldn't explain why Semenyo was available.
Yeah, because it wasn't the summer. He was registered in time for the quarters.
He was registered.
When we signed him, he played for Bournemouth, but he was registered before the semi-final game.
Right.
So if Gay had signed in the same week as Semenyo, he could have played.
Right.
But because he wasn't registered in the first leg, can't play in the second leg, which means he can't play in the final.
And just with the Newcastle hat on, where do you stand on Trafford?
He'll play tomorrow. I think he's been great. He's had a couple of shaky games, but he'll leave in the summer. What I got told, Trafford wanted to leave on Monday, but they told him no. He wanted out on Monday.
Crazy. I'm going to put two teams on the screen, and this is the team that has been piped for Newcastle. One of our new recruits to the channel, Lewis, has come in with this line. I think we'll go with the three at the back. I think we'll go 3-4-2-1. That's my opinion, but I've put down what Lewis thinks, and that's Nick Pope in goal, Lewis Hall, Dan Burn, Malik Chow, Trippier. So Botman not in the side again. Willock, Tonali, Ramsey. I don't think you could change that because of the injuries. Gordon, Wissa, and Barnes up top. Now, I've put the side in for you, matey. That was your last side out. Like I say, there's been a few changes from that one. Like you say, Gay can't play. So who comes in at the back? Do you reckon that Ainey will come back in?
It'll be Max Lane. Diaz started training on Monday. I think it'll be too soon for Diaz. I think Diaz potentially could be on the bench, but I think it'll be Max Lane. He'll come back in.
Right. Well, I haven't got Max Lane in
No,
because obviously
no,
he is literally it's Liam Rafferty.
Am I allowed to smoke, by the way? I don't know. I know when I've seen when.
Yes.
I just never know. I like to ask.
Yeah. No, you can, mate. You can. We do, so you can. And obviously, Cherky is going to be the other one that potentially.
I think it'll be Foden. I think Foden will come in for Cherky.
Well, do you reckon Silver will go out to the wing or?
Potentially, yeah. He'll move Bernardo out to the right wing and Foden will go into the 10. Well, I'm saying that. He's not played Foden in 10 for about 3 months. He's played in more of a 6/8 at the moment for some weird reason.
Yeah,
do you think you'll be keeping any powder dry for Liverpool? Because you've got Liverpool at the weekend, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think the title's done. I'll be straight. I think the title's done. I think it's Arsenal's to lose now. I don't think we're consistent enough for the title challenge.
Yeah, but it's Arsenal. I mean, they'll bottle it eventually, won't they?
But
your chance.
We're gonna bottle it. We do not win at Anfield. We won twice in about 40 years. We've no chance.
We have that problem.
No chance of going there. And we can't even keep a 2-0 lead against Spurs. So what hope have we got going to Anfield at the minute? There's too much confusion at the minute at City. Playing style. 1 week we're doing transitional football. The next week we're trying to do possession football. And I think it's confusing a lot of people at the moment. I think it's confusing the players. I still can't put my finger on why second half of games we collapse. I mean, there was a stat the other day. We've conceded 18 goals or something. It's more. It was 16. It's now more in the second half of games. We've only conceded 6 in the first half. We've conceded nearly 3 times as many goals in the second half. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's mentality, whether it's confidence. It just seems to be any time we concede a goal, we collapse.
Join the club.
Just like us.
And you're like, how? Why? And it's weird because this has only happened before while Rodri was injured, we had Nico Gonzalez in there who suited transitional football because he wasn't a passer, so to speak. He could get the ball and go. Rodri's just a straight passer, wants to slow the game down. Well, if you're playing transitional football, you're trying to get the ball from back to front as quick as you can. That doesn't suit a Rodri. So now you've got to slow it down for Rodri. And that's then confusing the other players. And I think that's the problem is we've got 29 players, 14 of them are transitional players, 14 of them are possession players. And it's like we've got a culture clash at the moment.
Wow.
And then you got the Pep future stuff, because you probably all heard we don't know whether Pep's going to be here anymore. So I'm just confusion everywhere now.
This is quite some canny stats, if you like. This is just League Cup, obviously, by the way. So league goals scored, 9 to Man City and 8 to Newcastle. Goals conceded, 1 to Man City, 4 to Newcastle. Shots 42 to 46. Some very similar stats going down here. I must admit, there's very little to choose from. But until it comes to form guide, obviously, City getting the draw against Tottenham, as you've just said there, winning at Galatasaray, Wolves. But then, obviously, you had a couple of poor results against Bodo Glimt and the other side.
Thanks for that. Thanks
That's
for
all
that.
right, listen, we've had the same. Don't worry. Yeah, we've had the same. Obviously, we got tanned by Liverpool after a very good display in Paris. Then, obviously, we had a poor result to Aston Villa, and then a good result against PSV, who people then say, was just a poor team. But then, obviously, we just didn't show up against Wolves with that very poor display.
Gary, once I did forget, it won't be Max Lane, it'll be Nathan Ake. Completely forgot about Ake.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Ake.
I forgot all about Ake. That went out my head. I've already sold him. Because I know he's going in the summer. I've sold him already.
Because he's been playing left back, hasn't he?
Left centre back, left back. All right. It's the problem. Riley's playing left back. Ain't Nora. I don't know who's going to play. This is the thing.
Yeah, he just changes to suit the narrative at times, doesn't he?
I don't know what he's going to do, because I think, I presume Bruno's actually out tomorrow. I think that could change the way we set up in the midfield. Not having Bruno in there. Pep and Bruno won't be able to have the little chatter boxes they do every single game. Besties, is we call them down here. So yeah, it could be O'Reilly, it could be Ain't Nora. I don't know what he's going to do.
Martin,
I won't know until tomorrow morning when I hear the team.
It must be lovely to have a choice, mate. That's what I like.
Martin, can I just ask you a quick question in regards to Bruno? Does Pep do that with any other players? Or is it just Bruno that he does that with? Because it is a thing up here that we see it happening. You think,
yeah,
maybe it's a little bit disrespectful from like on the Newcastle coach and stuff.
Well, they're like that with each other.
But it is just Bruno.
They both talk, and I think it's well publicised. Pep wanted him.
Yeah. But it is Bruno he does that with. He doesn't do it with like other teams. He doesn't do it.
But he does it with one or two.
I'm going to say, yeah, he does.
Bruno's the one. Him and Bruno, like Bruno says it. Bruno admires Pep a lot, and he admires Bruno, and I just think they seem to like to have a chinwag with each other every time they see each other. But it's two ways. It's not just Pep, but the pair of them. I don't know why. I don't even know where that's come from. They just seem to like to have a chat with each other every time they see each other.
And do you think Pep will go at the end of the season? Do you think this is his last season where he's at least one more in him?
My only thing with Pep is I don't like the signing 2 years every time, because every 12 months we go into this lull of uncertainty. Now, he did say if he was going to sign an extension, it would be a long-term one for them very reasons. So what I would potentially do, for me, there's no one better out there than Pep. They can give Pep a 10-year deal for me, 20-year deal, whatever they want. He can go on his terms. He has brought me more joy than he's brought me 18 trophies in 10 years. I won't have a word said against him. He's the greatest of all time. He sticks Ferguson into a shadow and leaves him there for me. He's just everything that I love about the guy. But if he's not willing to sign a long-term deal, then yes, I would let him go. Because this summer coming up is the most important for us.
Can I just ask you one quick other question? Because this is one that's probably pulling up here at the minute. In regards to I don't know who the first cup you won when you sort of got took over and went on this journey was the same as us, wasn't it? It was like the Carabao Cup or whatever it was called at the time.
Yeah.
Was it the FA Cup?
The FA Cup.
The manager that won you that trophy was the sort of a when he was going, or people when it started to be talk about him going, was there sort of a worry about that in regards to that he'd won you that the first trophy in a long time?
No.
No, nothing like that at all.
No, because I think we all the problems with Mancini. Mancini was brilliant, and he'd won the FA Cup and he'd won the league.
Yeah,
but he wasn't their guy. He wasn't their guy, and the trouble is, we all knew the guy that was coming. It was a matter of when, not if. And they got Pellegrini. Mancini caused World War III in the dressing room. You speak to Lescott, Joe Hart, David Silva, they were all going to leave if Mancini had stayed. Because he'd won the league and got that Italian temper going where I'm in charge, I'm going to do everything, you do what I want. And he didn't get, there was a number of signings. We tried to buy Van Persie and we tried to sign De Rosa from Roma, and he didn't get them. And he ended up with Javi Garcia, Scott Sinclair, and somebody else, and he kicked off about it. He had to go at Brian Marwood and said, what are you doing here? I've won the title and you're bringing me Scott Sinclair, with all due respect. And United went and got Van Persie. So that caused ruptures. Then we got Pellegrini just for the holistic approach. He won a League Cup and league. But we all knew where it was going. Everything was lined up for Pep. That was where we were going. And I'll be honest with you, I think that I got Pep when Mancini went. Had Pep already not decided to do his buying bit and then have his year out.
So what you're basically saying is you shouldn't be scared to change managers. If a manager's won for you.
I've had this debate 1,000 times, and everyone's going to hate me for it. I'm sorry. Eddie Howe will not take you where you want to go.
Yeah, I agree.
So you wouldn't swap him for Pep, as what I just said.
No, I won't swap him for Pellegrini or Mancini.
I just want to go back a little bit because just before Martin came on and we've gone down the Man City route, I wanted to say a very massive thank you to Geordie Jan because he celebrates 18 months of membership. And he's just talking about what Crookie was saying there. Loud of crock from Crook. Oh, obviously, he's the other Manchester supporter. Yes, I was just watching us last week. I think we're holding back. Sorry about that. And until the summer re-Europe. If not, it'll be bye-bye Eddie Howe. The other thing I was going to ask you, Martin, which has come from another one of our background staff, from Connor. He wants to ask, would you have Enzo Maresca to take over if Pep leaves?
No.
Do you not think he's good enough?
I think it's one of the biggest downgrades you can make in a managerial situation.
Because he's obviously one of Pep's pups, isn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't have Arteta. And he's one of Pep's pups.
Right.
Who would you have?
Who would you have out of it?
For me, there's potentially two. I mean, for me, I don't think there's anyone better out there, but you go with a Vinny Company or you go with someone like an Alonso.
Wow.
So you think Vinny Company would do a job for you?
If given the patience and the time by everyone, yes.
Mm.
The thing with Vinny Company is, and he said this on record, he'll only take the City job when he's earned the City job.
Oh, that's fair enough.
He won't just take it out of love for the club. I mean, if it was up to him, his wife's from Manchester, his kids are from Manchester. Sadly, his father-in-law's a rag, so there's nothing you can do about that. It is what it is, I suppose. But Company, I just don't. I'm not one of these former player bring him in. I want to bring him in and be giving him the right time. I don't want people desecrating that statue outside. He earned that statue. I don't want to see a Solskjaer or a Lampard where these legends go in and then the fan base turns them all around because they're not patient anymore.
Hmm. It's a difficult one to have, isn't it? It's
and the thing is, how do you follow Pep?
You don't. That's the problem, isn't it?
It's the poison chalice. It's like Fergie, isn't it?
How do you follow Pep? How do you follow Fergie? How do you follow Wenger at the time?
I mean, how do you follow Howe? I mean, come on. Pokey's looking up at the stars there. He's got umpteen names on his side.
I mean, I get it. Listen, Eddie Howe's a very good manager. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't think he can take you where you want to go long term. Long term, with respect, is not a. This is no dig. Eddie Howe. My thing with Eddie Howe is he can't even keep you in the Champions League places on a consistent basis. Your owners are going to want to be the best in the world at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not being harsh. I'm not trying to be thing, but I've said this on this channel and previous. He's your version of Matt Hughes.
Yeah, he started the ball rolling, didn't he?
And that's not me being thing. That's just me being. I think he's great, but will the big players want to come in and play for an Eddie Howe? Or are they going to say, with due respect, who are you in world football?
Martin, I know you answered on this before I even asked, but in regards to how, do you think is there ever when Man City play Newcastle, do you ever think, or Eddie Howe's the tactical genius, he's going to get the best over Pep in this game?
No. The only time I saw it was earlier on in the league game at St James's when he actually changed things in the second half, and he changed the tactics actually because normally you were doing the trying to do the Pep football. And we were doing the transitional football, and we all thought we were going to keep the same way. And then Eddie Howe went back to transitional football. We went back to possession football, and everyone changed the rule book around. And we couldn't deal with it. And then in the League Cup first leg, we went back to transitional again, which is why then we got round the midfield that you had.
Right. Well, it's been a really strange situation that we find ourselves with this midfield as you've just opened up that door there, because there's been some really uncanny comparisons, if you want to call it that, with some people out there on social media, looking primarily at one of our star players, of Tonali, because like I say, a well-respected player in Europe, and a lot of Premier League managers also see him in the light. I mean, obviously, we've heard these links now to Arsenal, which some poo-poo off. Others say there is some value behind it. I don't know which way to sit on that, because I do think with our decline at the moment, even though we are still in 3.5 competitions, we aren't really moving forward with the elite players looking like they want to succeed at Newcastle. At this present moment in time, there definitely looks like there's a drop-off. Now, there's been, like I said, the comparison today, which really, I had to look at 2 or 3 times to get to see whether there was any value at it. And it's right what they say. I mean, this is, let me see if I can put this on the screen just so you guys can all see it. This is the one I saw today. This is a guy at Fulham. He's a midfielder at Fulham, Sasa Lukic, right? And as you can see there, this is the whole season. You know, this is an elite player that we've got playing for us at this present moment in time. To me, he's below average at this present moment in time. And you've just been talking there about Rodri. And the one thing that I find absolutely criminal, if I drop that, it's not going to allow me, but at the bottom of the screen, which you can't see, is possession lost. Now, Tonali has lost the ball 257 times in the middle of the park. Sasa Lukic has only lost the ball 124 times. So for me, you know, if you're looking at going forward with a squad of players, you've got to start seeing. You know, I was questioned whether Tonali was a leader when we haven't got Bruno involved in the game. It doesn't seem as though we've got anybody else in that midfield that's willing to drive us forward. It just seems as though it's all, you know, just play, and if they give the ball away, so what? It doesn't matter. I just don't understand it.
I mean, I'm going to try. You know, I know City are interested in Tonali. Oh, they have. I'm sure on the list. He's on the list we've got. I mean, I like Tonali. I think he's a great footballer. I actually rate your midfield. I think your midfield's up there is a really good midfield. I'm not sure about Joe Linton. I think he's a bit.
Yeah.
How do I put this in the best way with Joe Linton? Joe Linton is a superstar in the North East. Outside the North East, no one thinks he's a superstar.
Yeah.
That man, and I mean that with the greatest of respect. I look at Bruno and I look at Tonali, and I do see superstar players.
Yeah, I agree. But that's what I said.
Levels above. Hello, Becca. And I know Wazzy's in my chat all the time. He likes to wind me up. And the show later was, I said, no doubt you'll be in there, mate. Big up. So hello, Becca. Thank you for the support. It's how do I put this with Tonali? Because I do like him. All right, I'll reverse the question back to you. Tonali or Elliot Anderson right now?
If I'm honest with you, I'd go with Elliot Anderson right now. Tonali's a great footballer, absolutely fabulous footballer, but he ain't a number 6. And if you're looking at an anchor man, you need an anchor man with vision. You need an anchor man.
I can tell that's got you all thinking because all your eyes are widening when I ask that question. Then
you see, for me, when you've got the likes of Bruno by the side of him, you get a different player. You get a different player because it's about, I think, an understanding of who plays what. Where Bruno will drop into the 6, but he'll drive forward from that deeper position.
Well, what's Bruno meant to be? Because I thought Bruno was. This is my confusion. Did he just that roll around?
Yeah, exactly. They're transitional.
With a 6, man.
We don't play with a 6.
Just don't play with a 6.
Right.
But what you get is both Bruno and Tonali will drop into the deeper areas, if you like, and try and get the tempo of the game going. The biggest problem is Tonali, as good as he can also be on the totally other side of the spectrum and be a really poor player who just gives the ball away, at the drop of a hat. And for me, to be in that elite bracket, that is part of the game that you should really try and iron out. And, I look at him and think at times you're fantastic, but is that because you're playing alongside good footballers? Because when you're on your own in a bunch of not so good footballers, you unfortunately drop a level.
Well, I mean, for me,
can I just quickly say it's Tonali it's the other way for me. It's Tonali 100%. Tonali's a miles better footballer than Elliot Anderson. And this is no offence. He's a Geordie. He's a good lad. I like him as a player. I'd love him to be back at Newcastle. But Tonali's in a different class to him.
I'll send you a
Tonali,
I
agree completely in regards to Tonali's had a bad few games, but let's not forget what he's done before that. And he is a good midfielder, a really good. He's probably the only player.
Temporary class is permanent.
That's it. Yeah. He's probably one of the only players in our squad that can potentially go on to have a career with a massive club. Bruno probably could as well, but Bruno's obviously a little bit older. But I don't know what Tina thinks about Tonali. Is Tonali or Anderson as well? Who would you choose, Tina?
Tonali, 100% of the time. I mean, I like Elliot Anderson. Again,
I love Elliot Anderson.
He's not a number 6 either. So, but no, Tonali's a legitimate world-class international level footballer. Elliot Anderson is a Geordie who can play good football. Like, I would love Elliot Anderson to come back.
International.
But he's not Tonali.
No, he's not. But what I'm saying is, I've just compared. There's a big comparison. That's not.
You put a rock in the pool here.
We're about to drop 85 million on him and give him like the 6/8 role in the City midfield next year.
Yeah, listen, I haven't put Elliot Anderson next to Tonali for one reason, because everybody would be on that spectrum. That's been done by somebody totally different, putting that Fulham player there that I didn't know anything about.
I think Anderson's absolute quality. I've never.
Yeah. Oh, he's
absolutely shone, and he's not just doing it for Forest; he's doing it for England.
Yeah, exactly.
He's shining for England, and he can pass, he can tackle, he can score. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I know he wants to move. City want to move. He wants to move. I just can't wait to see him. We get him in that midfield. I think we'll go on leaps and bounds.
Wow.
I think he's that good.
So Okay, let's move away from the argument again. Tonali or Elliot Anderson. The other thing I was going to ask you is obviously we've heard previously that Tino Livramento's father, who's obviously does the deals for him, there was a link towards him and Manchester City. Have you heard anything?
The only thing I heard was the interest was there. He wasn't interested in the summer. Well, he was and he wasn't. He got more interested coming forward because that is true. What came out, his reps had spoke to someone at City. And what can you offer? What would you do? Blah, blah, blah. There's major concerns now over his injury. Because it isn't just a one injury. It's not just two injuries. It's now becoming... And when you are going to look at spending 60 million, 70, whatever it would cost, I don't think they pay more than 65 anyway. I don't think they get to the numbers you'd even want. I worry about that. I think there's... Because I know they're looking at Jabaro Reed at Feyenoord.
Feyenoord, yeah.
I've talks with him. They're looking at... there is even interest in Trent over at Madrid. That is genuine. That interest is genuine. It depends what... Again, it comes back to the style. Are we after an overlapping? Because our fullbacks in this transition game are our wingers. And then we invert the wide men into the midfield. And that's why Nunes looks so good now, because Nunes is phenomenal at that job. Right? I mean, right now, I have no problem with Mateus Nunes carrying on the role. I think he's shone this season. Absolutely shone Nunes. I mean, you look at the ball, don't you? You put a ball in against Wolves, first time cross, bang, Mamouche is there on the end of it. And I'm like, none of our wingers can put a ball in like that, never mind Nunes. So I think it depends. It depends where they want to go. But I know Jabaro Reed's injured. They've looked at the guy at Brentford. Can't remember his name. Trouble is with City have about 7 names on a list and they just cut it down. So I don't think the Livramento interest has died. I think he's gone further down the list from what I've been told.
Yeah, sorry, Tina, go on.
I was going to say, have you heard the song Jolene?
Yeah.
Jolene. Right. Man City can sign any player in the world. Can you just leave our players alone? we can't sign anybody as it is. Just go find different teams to buy players from, please.
No, but anyone from you.
Nobody is after Tonali. Oh, we'll want Bruno. Oh, we'll have Tino.
No, I don't want Bruno now.
No, go buy players from Madrid. Go away.
Hey, listen, Bruno. They just didn't want to pay the release clause. If City had paid the release clause, Bruno would now be at City.
Just stop doing that.
Give me that.
I've asked nicely.
Yeah,
I knew Martin's parents was Jack and Vera Duckworth. Class.
Bodley's trying to get banned out of my chat later. That's what I'm going to do. I don't know where. I think, like I said, this summer will be a very big summer for City. I do think the Elliot Anderson will get done. We've also got to make decisions on Rodri's contracts.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all coming towards
18 months left. So well, less than 18 months now. He's got about 15, 16 months.
Do you think he dropped off after his injury last year?
No, I just think he's coming back. I just think he's trying to find his form after being out so long.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, a lot of players now, because of what's happening with Pep, will hold back?
Maybe one or two will. One or two will, because I think some players have signed because of Pep. But when Haaland signed his 10-year deal, I don't think he imagined Pep was going to be here for another 10 years.
No.
So there is life after Pep, 100%. It's Manchester City FC, not Pep FC. As much as I love him, I still think we sign players before Pep. We'll sign players after them. There will always be one or two who you lose out on. The thing with Rodri is, with his injury and he's got a previous fitness, because Rodri wants about 400 grand a week. You give him 4-year deal, 5-year deal at 400 grand a week, and then he breaks down. Elliot Anderson, if he comes in, is going to want $250,000, 300k. Foden's getting a new contract at 300k a week. So Gavardio wants a new contract. Doku wants a new contract. Nunes wants a new contract. You know, we've got Mamouche, who plays about 10 minutes on 300 grand a week. It's just sat on your bench. Haaland's on 800k after his bonuses. So I suppose it's just difficult, and we've got to make decisions. We've got to make the right ones moving forward. That's why I think this summer will be the biggest summer we've had in a long time, because for me, the transition finishes this summer. This transition rebuild has to stop in the summer. We bought 13 new players. Now we need to sell another 10, bring another few in, and then we can rebuild it and go again. Because the one thing everyone goes on about City spending, and it annoys the hell out of me, because what no one talks about is, we've signed 13 players, but we've sold 13 players.
Yeah.
It's just you don't hear about the other 13 going out.
No, well, that's why we bought it. Go on, Bo.
Quick question in regards to injured players. When Pep's got players that are injured, does he put them straight back into the team, or does he introduce them slowly back into the team? So do they sit on the bench for 20 minutes at the end of the game?
Depends who they are.
Depends who they are. So he will sometimes take a chance and put someone straight back in the team.
If it's someone like KDB, a Rodri, a Foden, or whatever, a Haaland, he'll generally bring him back for the one game, do 20 minutes, and then after that, the back. It's not because Pep has 6 or 7 players that are his ready-made guys. So like Donnarumma is, Haaland is, Bernardo is. Everyone calls Bernardo Pep's son, as they love to call him down here. Rodri. There are certain players. It's like everyone says, well, drop. The big thing at the minute is put Haaland on the bench for 5 games. You try and put Haaland on the bench for 5 games and see what happens. Would you put Mbappe on the bench for 5 games at Madrid? Would you put Kane on the bench? We're not talking an average player. You're talking one of the best strikers in world football. And you think he's just going to sit on a bench for 5 games? It don't happen. Some people think, unfortunately, as I said, football is not fair. It's not fair. Everyone wants to do this. Everyone's fair. Let him get a game. Let him have some minutes. Well, no, that's why Alvarez left. Alvarez left for that reason, because Alvarez didn't want to play backup to Haaland. Whoever comes in is a backup to Haaland. Whoever comes in is a backup to Rodri. It's not fair. It's fact. Look at Trafford. Trafford signs, and 10 days later, Donnarumma walks in, and he's like, "Oh, great." There's no competition now. Trafford's number 2 for the rest of his City career. You are done, mate. Finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, that's life at the top. You've got to be cutthroat with it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Eddie, though, isn't it? He's a bit too nice. I've just literally, and again, I've done this from this little thing that I've got in front of me. I don't know how true it is. I've just counted off 25 outfield players, not including goalkeepers, and you've got a bit of a bigger pool than Newcastle have when it comes to bringing players in and out after injuries, as Balky's just said there. So, I mean, for me, the depth of quality in the Man City comparing to Newcastle is it's two sides of the coin. We're nowhere near that. I think the pressure on managers like Eddie Howe bringing players back quick is because we haven't got that depth, and we just need to kick on. It's already been touted. Eddie's under a lot of pressure at the minute, and there's a lot of people saying he's one of the favourites now to probably be the next one to get the push. A lot of bookies aren't taking bets anymore.
There's a lot of people doing that with Pep, trust me.
Well,
it's like tomorrow night. For me, that opening goal will be crucial. So crucial tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
If Newcastle get it, we're game on. If City get it, it could be a long night.
What's your prediction, Martin?
I've gone 3-1 with 5-1
For Newcastle?
Yeah, I'm going to say, that's what I've gone for. Thank you very much.
3-1 Newcastle, baby. Good job.
We don't concede 3 goals at the Etihad. We don't concede 3 at the Etihad.
We only need 2. We only need 2 to stay in the fight. We only need 2 to be in the. We only need 1 actually.
I'm going to say the first one.
The first one is gonna. It could be special. It could be. Well, I don't know about the crowd turning on City, but I don't know. But it may be an interesting match. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen, but neither here nor there. Anyways, lads, thank you very much, Martin, joining us tonight. Thank you, appreciate
Thanks, Martin.
mate, for coming on. Gary as well, of course.
Thank you, everybody.
Christina, Boki, and the last. Appreciate all of you out there. Let's get the late night show going, lads. Let's get the late night show going. Cheers. Take care.
See you later.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Wind, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
All right, the voice of the Toon Army, ladies and gents. Welcome to NUFC Talk. We are live here. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Become a member as well on the YouTube side of things so you can enjoy everything on demand. And shout out to everyone listening on DAB in the northeast of England, in Newcastle upon Tyne. We are live there as well. So shout out to all of you listening out there. If you are listening on any audio directory, online directory, as far as radio is concerned, welcome as well. Join us. Come to the YouTube side of things and enjoy the plethora of shows that we got. And of course, also subscribe to 90s Mag, part of the network. NUFC Comparison, part of the network. Everybody out there, everybody and their mama talking about Newcastle United. We're here.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment. We're going to talk about Sandro Tonali drama continuing. Oh, man.
Love it.
Love the drama here, man. Love the drama. A lot of drama going on in the tune. Anyways, we got Jefferson. We got Jamie getting sorted. We got the mighty Wayne. Win. I can't speak, man. I'm knackered.
We are knackered.
And Jefferson, how are you, buddy? You all right?
Mighty Win and the mighty Wayne.
Thank you. Great to be back in the house. How you guys
back
doing?
in the house, man.
Okay, Jevo.
We just
proves it.
I've gotten over the last game, obviously. I was in a spat of depression for a bit, but we come back rolling with the punches,
But now we are going on. We're going to the Etihad, man. I think this is the moment for Newcastle. This is it. This is the moment that a lot of people have been waiting for. Jefferson ahead of all of that mob that want this outcome for a certain individual within our club. This could be it. Because it's not going to get any easier than what. I'm sorry, it's not going to get any harder than what's to come for Newcastle United. Even Brentford, who we have in, I think after this one, I think on the weekend, we got Brentford. So, it's going to be a tough one. And if he is able to ride this storm, come on, there's no denying that he needs to at least get into the end of the season. There's a civil war within every fan base, and Newcastle United fans are not the exception. I mean, it's criminal. It's criminal. It's too much, man. It's too much. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, listen, Man City, we should be up. We should be behind the lads, which we are going to be as fans. But it's just a bit somber at the moment. I don't know, man. I don't know. See, Quinny in the chat, why knackered? I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Can you hear me?
What's going? We can hear you, yeah. We can hear you and see you. We can hear you and see you, mate. We can hear you and see you.
I can't see myself here.
Is that a fancy new mic, Jamie?
Yeah, this same old mic. I've just got it in front of myself a little bit. I just can't see myself on the screen, but I'll take your word for it that I'm there.
You sound proper. We're on radio anyway. People don't need to see you, mate.
You've got the face for radio.
Wow, have you heard it? Wow.
NTV, to be fair, as well. So it's got both phases. Anyways, so
I'll have you.
lads,
I've not been off the telly this week.
Yeah, I know you've been on national radio, national TV as well. So actually,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. And the NUFC comparison on the channel is doing very well, man, increasing by the week, which is shocking when you got Jamie, Hutch, and Simon in there. But maybe that is the combination. There's the formula right there. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Viewers are choosing the NUFC comparison. So there you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Right, there you go.
Anyways, we got the Tonali situation going on. Craig Hope put up an article about this, and he's more or less mentioning that it's not the Isak saga all over again, but it kind of is, isn't it?
Because smelling like it to me.
It is. It certainly is. It's about a player that, for many reasons, might choose to want to leave. Whether that's the project he's not convinced, whether it's more money, which is probable that has a lot to do with it, and maybe the team that he wants to go wants to upgrade, and there's no doubt that there is an upgrade above Newcastle United. There's a few of those, and there's nothing we can do about that right now, other than offer money. I think we can afford one great contract, one super expensive contract. I don't think we can afford many of those, but I think you can afford one. I don't think we have any of them on that. Gordon is on 170 or something like that. I read 170, 80, which that is criminal in itself. It is, but maybe Tonali. Tonali's in my opinion, he's very important to the team, but he's not appealing. He's not catching the eye this season.
If there's going to be any player at Newcastle on a super contract, as you call it,
we go.
It has got to be Dan Burn. No, it's got to be a striker that we haven't got yet.
That were wangers.
That's the thing.
The only player that's worth super money is somebody who's banging in goals on a regular basis.
But maybe nobody at the moment. I thought you were going to say Bruno.
You maybe start giving one contract. You say we can give one contract, but then everybody you try to sign will want that kind of money.
Well, that's...
Why don't we just do our due diligence, do our scouting, get the players on the cheap, like the Bournemouths and the Brightons are doing? We could easily adapt a Dortmund model. So it might take a few years to kick off, but if we can keep selling for profit, then we keep recruiting and replacing the quality.
You were going to be happy with it taking a few years.
No. Hold on.
It's a sign of ambition rather than just plucking Premier League ready who are absolute rubbish. That's what's happening.
Here's the thing, though. Jefferson is 100% correct. You can't cry over spoiled milk. You're going to have to find a solution. If you can't pay these contracts, you're going to have to figure out, why can't we continue? First of all, forget recruiting players that Bournemouth and Brighton do, which is actually a good formula. It's a good thing to do. But how come we just do what we used to do during the takeover, which is recruit unknown players, unknown to the world, like Bruno, like Botman, like Isak. Yeah. Why can't we keep doing that? Why can't we keep doing that? I want to know why we can't keep doing it.
I'll tell you for why. Because if you continue recruiting like Bournemouth and Brighton and selling your best players, you end up where Bournemouth and Brighton are.
No. But you added something that we didn't put in the equation. You're talking about selling. We said nothing about selling. So why are you making things up? That's not what we said here. So we're going to get to Jamie's take as well.
For example, I get what you're saying, Win, but there needs to be balance, isn't it? If you look at Bournemouth, they sold 3 of their starting back 4. Hoyson, I think 50 million, Sabani 55, and Kirkes 45. You don't do that. If you notice Borussia Dortmund, they literally only sell like one key player a season, but they make sure it's like big, basically. It's going to be 70 plus mil, and then that tied you over. And in the meantime, you're kind of building, in the background. Because unfortunately, we don't have the revenue to buy it and splash out. We have to learn. Unfortunately. And I think I've sort of, not that I've given up on ambition, but I think I've realized we might have to scrap and reset. Obviously, the ones that want to stay, your Brunos can stay. But anyone that wants to go, let them go. We recoup the money and we start again. And if we have to get them young, and put the faith in them
Well,
and stick with them.
I want to get into what Jamie has to say about this, and I'll leave you with this. I wish I could just leave because I'm hungry, but either way, I'll leave it with
Nice.
you. I am. But I mean, we can all say the same, chant. The player doesn't want to be here, he can leave. We don't have that magpie. We can inflate our magpie chest up, and the player doesn't want to be here. It's all of that nonsense. All they keep saying is that people just keep reiterating all the time that make no sense when you put it into paper. Players are not here for passion. They're not here to be your friend. They're not here to be, Mighty Wins all-time list. They're here for a job, and they want money, of course, but they also want a project that they believe. If I'm not going to get all this money, then let's be a competitor. Let's be a team that fights for not the Premier League right now, but let's fight. You know what I mean? For something. And you can clearly see something's been a bit stagnant at the moment. So anyway, Win wants to worry about the super chat, so he cares about money only. So let's get into the super chat before Jamie has a say on this whole thing. It's been only 10 minutes,
ready to bounce his pounce.
What is it? What is a
Wrong.
bounce?
We shall not ever, one rule, Jefferson, never ask Waza anything. Just try to read in between the lines and continue, because it might open up Pandora box. But thank you, Waza. So, Jamie, actually, I'm excited to hear your take because you've been whinging about PSR and all that crap on social media.
Yeah.
So, go on then. What's happening?
Well, I agree with Jeffo. I think we need to buy at a level like we have in previous years. As you said, we've tried to compete for the very, very top players in the last summer. And very good. We've tried to compete for like top level players in the last transfer window, and we just kept getting gazumped by the richer clubs. And you said there, Chris, you've got to convince the player of the project. You're talking like it's a player who makes the decisions. It's not. It's the man who the player works for who makes the decisions. It's his agent. Every single move, there's an agent wanting his cut of the money, wanting an extra, even if it's an extra 10 grand a week for his man. And nobody will ever, ever persuade me that the history of a club or the project is worth more than cold hard cash, because these blokes will tell the footballer exactly where to go, and it'll be where the most money is on offer. And I think the way it's looking at the minute, I think Tonali, I agree, is in the position where he feels he can make more money, he feels he can win more at a club that pays more. Because that's the thing. You go to a club that pays everyone 250 grand a week. They've got 11 top players on 250 grand a week. Of course they win something. I think Tonali's going to look to go, and I think Livermento's going to look to go. And that'll give you a decent amount of money on top of what we've got last summer for a complete revamp. And they need to get it right from start to finish this year. I don't know what kind of complications the World Cup gives to this summer transfer window, if it sort of opens and closes, or if you kind of have to wait for players to get back from the World Cup. But this year, they need to move fast. And the season's not over, and let's not talk like it is. But that's got to be the plan going ahead. And everybody listening to this, everybody out there supporting Newcastle, I think has got to accept that we cannot just take the top players from the Premier League. We cannot take the top players from the European League. And it's because of PSR and revenue. So let's get back to getting what you said, the Botmans, the Brunos, the sort of second level players that we can develop and kick on, because we were really, really good at that for a couple of years. And that's got to be the way forward.
But why did we stop?
Got to be the new way.
Why do we stop? Why did we stop, and why right now it feels like many people believe that they're not, I don't know if they always go about PIF, but not to defend PIF, but PIF are owners of a company, and they appoint people to run it, and at the end of the season or whenever assess whether those people are making them money or improving the business or whatever. So PIF, yeah, I think people expected PIF to be just this empire to come and take over and just, but they can't. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if the blame should be on PIF. I think now though you got professionals, if you will, then they are the ones in charge. I mean, you know, me and Jamie, we were. Jamie can corroborate. By the way, everything I've been saying. You know, we were in an event where these people were, the CEO, where the DOF were, and you know, they seems like
You were a little
working
afraid
hard.
to talk to him, I should say.
I was a little afraid to talk to the CEO, you know, but Jamie was like, you know, he grabbed my hand and, you know, we went over there to talk to the CEO, and he was a great lad. He was talking. He did mention, and you're my proof, Jamie, about the club. We need to just let go of that stranglehold of the Geordie thing. This is my club. This is out, and try to expand like a proper business if we want money, you know. But as long as there's still a stranglehold, like it's not going to float, because you can only push these retro kits so much. I mean, it keeps getting, the stuff keeps getting sold out, by the way, but I don't know when that will be. But
this generation.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? When PIF bought the club, they thought they had nothing better to do than walk in with all their billions and do an Abramovich, do a Man City. They quickly realised that door had been slammed on them, but continued with we're going to be number one, even right up to the new CEO coming in saying we are going to be number one by 2030. So whilst it's very gratifying to hear Jeffo saying he's prepared to take a back seat for a period of time while the transition takes place, presumably that's qualified by as long as Eddie's not in charge. But even so, he's prepared to take a back seat for Newcastle to rebuild and re-strengthen for a period of time. I don't think PIF are prepared to do that. I don't think PIF have got that patience. I think they have got this idea that they, you know, what they came in to do, they're going to do. And I think PIF might be thinking right now, listen, this has been a mess up from the start. No, since they put all these barriers in our way. Let's just let it float along, see how it goes. And that's where I think PIF are now. I think if they'd been truly invested in the project as they were initially when Amanda was here, it certainly seemed that way.
yeah, because Amanda was here, because that was a person in charge, not because of PIF. PIF didn't do anything. What did PIF do? If you really, other than buy the club,
well,
it was Amanda. Everybody keeps talking about Amanda because that was it. Amanda and her husband. So they're gone. So that's missing, of course. They brought people in.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, have they still got the interest in the project sufficient to
me,
take
I think
a backseat to be prepared to not be in the Champions League for X number of seasons until these players, project players that we're buying, come through? And this follows, by the way, a load of discussion that we've had on the channel saying we shouldn't be buying project players now. We should be buying the ready-made deal who's going to come in, strengthen the first team so that whoever's in the first team goes down to the bench, automatically strengthen the bench.
No. Well, I haven't. I think you can be open to many players out there. The thing is, Newcastle are not involved in anything.
The problem is the structure, which we've tried to rectify by getting Ross Wilson in. But my understanding is I don't know much about Ross Wilson. I've only heard about what Steven Gerrard said about him, the work that he did at Rangers. And then obviously what we saw with Forest, the signings he made in terms of the Brazilian boys, and there's a couple of Argentinians he signed, a couple of African players, and you saw Forest finish 7th last year. But everyone's saying he's Eddie's mate and he's a yes man. I don't know, because technically he hasn't had a window yet to actually implement anything. But what I would say is, and I'll go back to this win, I remember the very show, right? I said to you about Eddie's attitude in terms of wanting to be the number one man, be in control, almost that mindset of a small club mindset, because he was used to that at Bournemouth. Getting rid of Paul Mitchell was the beginning of the end for me, because you're talking about a director of football who was able to scout or recruit Sadio Mane, Dusan Tadic, Virgil van Dijk, Heung-min Son. Like, the list is endless. We had him there. He had his hands tied behind his back. He was having to sign youth academy players, couldn't have any kind of implementation on the first team, and then we dash him away. And that's where I blame the board. That's where the board had to step in and say, oi, Eddie, you are the first team coach. You're not the manager. We've employed the director of football who is above you, but we want you to work together in tandem. Because that set us back. Because all he's done is he's promoted his nephew, and they were out of their depth this summer. And if you guys can't admit that, there's a big problem. Because you've only got
Paul Mitchell's biggest contribution was to pay off Alexander Isak. You know, he basically Paul Mitchell came in and they said, yeah, you can have this additional contract. He threw his weight around, is what happened. And Mitchell wanted to be the man.
Is that from Craig Hope?
I can't reveal my sources, but you know, it's misdirection like this. It's misdirection like this, which is why I'm not going to introduce you to the chief executive, mate.
But as that comment just put, Paul Mitchell was right about the recruitment strategy. He was right.
He wasn't right.
Because your boys, wait, hold on. Your boys were given all the money, 250 million. They spunked it, and we've not improved. In fact, we've gone backwards. And you had someone.
I think first of all, I think that's a bad word, so you can't use bad words no more, man.
Also, okay, they wasted the money, yeah, and we've gone backwards.
Yeah, we know what you meant.
There's someone that's got experience in being able to recruit, like we just mentioned, obscure players. Right, so we shot ourselves in the foot. Yeah, but all I keep hearing is Eddie saying he doesn't like this player. He doesn't like this player. So if we're not lucky, if we don't watch ourselves, Steve Nixon's going to get frustrated and walk away, because apparently he scouted that Rayan player.
Who are you hearing that off, though? Who are you hearing that off?
I mean, that's me making my deduction, right? But I'm saying,
so it's a deduction. It's not fundamentally what happened. There's none of us, you know, are sitting there in the transfer room and seeing who's on the phone to who. Ross Wilson made some comments, because he was at that do as well, wasn't he, Chris? Saying, you know,
well, he was, what did he say though, Jamie? And that's why a lot of people are going to blame Eddie Howe, because he said, obviously anybody, we're looking at players, but obviously anybody that comes in needs to be approved 100% by Eddie Howe, the manager. He said that. So I refuse from listening to Steven Gerrard speak like Jefferson did. I refuse to believe that this guy didn't have anybody as an option to come in for Newcastle United. I refuse to believe that. Therefore, I have to, by what the DOF said in front of us, that it was the manager that didn't like the players or the options. And he might be his right to decline every option, but is that how things should be run is the question. Ultimately, I think that the fault will have to be with PIF, because PIF usually would work as a CEO tells the DOF what to do. The DOF would tell the manager what to do unless the manager is of some elite caliber like Guardiola or the Man U guy, the Scottish guy. What's his name?
I think there's still a bit of network.
That's down to PIF anyway, isn't it? Because
PIF
if Jeffo had got his way and PIF had said to Paul Mitchell, right, well, it doesn't matter what he's saying, you just do it. What would Eddie have done then?
No, I said for them to work together. because that's how it works at every club. They're meant to work together, but they've got distinguished roles. At the end of the day, if you're a first team coach, your job is to manage, coach the first team. Yes, you can have a slight say in recruitment in terms of the kind of
Yeah, but
attributes you need,
if
but you cannot be saying, "No, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy." That's not your acumen. Your acumen is to
well,
train. Your
you could
acumen
have
is
a
not
point,
to recruit.
but Jefferson,
What I'm saying is,
you got a point in
Paul
there. However,
Mitchell had stopped, Eddie Howe would have gone. So if PIF had a decision to make, they would keep Paul Mitchell,
What
or
do
they
you mean?
would keep Eddie Howe.
What do you mean he would have gone?
That's
So where's
exactly
that
what I
come?
mean.
Where's that
he
come
could
from?
have adhered. Well, not well. Jefferson is saying that Eddie Howe could have adhered to the new
If he's
rules
gone, then
and just.
bye bye. Then bye bye. You're a baby. Grow up. Every
That's
other
No, but
manager,
look, hold on.
every other manager works.
Let's simmer down here for a second. Let's simmer down. Now, let's talk about now. The situation that's going on. That's why my mic is too low, man. Okay. Anyway, the situation with now, I mean, it would be PIF's fault or the CEO, you know, if we don't know, to say I'm allowing Eddie Howe to have this power because I trust it or I believe in him, and I'm allowing the DOF to not have the final say. It's not really their fault ultimately, is it? Because if I come on here and I allow Mighty Win to run the controls and host the show, he might do it, but that's my fault if things don't go well. You know what I mean? It's my fault for putting him in that position or allowing him to do that. So ultimately, it would be PIF's fault if things don't go the right way because they're the ones that allowing it. I mean, crickets, but you know.
Love it.
I'm just saying, man. You know, because it's easy also to just blame everything on Howe. Because if you were, Jefferson, if you were listening to this press conference earlier today, I feel like Eddie Howe wanted to say more than what he said. I felt like at some point the guys might be getting fed up with things, and you know what I really want to say is, you know, something else. I don't know. They're not letting me spend, or they're because he every time he says PSR, we're PSR problems. It feels like he wants to say something else. It feels you can watch the guy. He's uncomfortable nowadays.
But Chris,
in
what
the press
else is
conference.
he gonna say? He ousted Paul Mitchell. He promoted his nephew. He got everything on his terms.
No, but the nephew was always
50 million.
the nephew was there already.
You reap what you sow. You're
The nephew was there already.
You reap what you sow.
Chris, who is it gets sued if opinion is presented as fact on a radio station? Is it you or the person who says it?
No, each individual. So
That's me.
Each individual we have to be held account to whatever they say. But look,
thing is, we got to stop Jack and Orion. What happens in the boardroom? No one knows why Paul Mitchell left. Nobody knows who's had what say and what signings. All we know is that there's been a lot of churn there, really. And it may be, you know, the wrongdoing sits with Mitchell, with how it may be like a series of unfortunate events. I don't know. There's comments here about what Ross Wilson did at Rangers and Southampton and stuff, some good, some bad. We should not be in the Champions League places for what we earn, right? We need to make it work the way it worked from 22 to pretty much 25 by getting it right. And we need to hope that these guys can get it right this time. But how we got this phase, I don't know. You know, and I know bits and pieces. See a lot about young Howe, I forget his first name, the nephew. He's a man who got the Tonali deal done.
He got Chow coming. He got Chow coming. You know, he got Chow as well.
He was recommended the year before, right?
Ben Jacobs reported he got.
He was recommended the year before by the previous DOF, and was told, "No, I want Mark Gurhey." So you just go back into the old playbook, right? Let's give him the credit.
Well, I mean, you could have a point in that. You could have a point.
Propaganda the other way, and I think that's the problem. And people don't like it. They don't like hearing the other stuff. It's the whole sanctimonious, holier than thou that we need to break down because the evidence is there. The evidence is there. I just don't know why.
We're getting into a situation. If it feels like when we got away from the Tonali deal, but it has a lot to do with it, to be fair, because that's another great asset, another great player that might be getting, you know, his attention might be somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know. We don't know this, obviously. But it may seem that way because it is murky, this whole situation where, listen, David Ornstein, he can't be this transfer guru for a whole summer and all of a sudden he's talking rubbish. It feels like 90% of Newcastle journalists. I didn't hear George Colkin on this, so I didn't read his stuff on this particular matter. So I'll exclude him, another person that we met there in this event, or Chris Wolf. But every other one is rubbishing this with an exclamation point to a certain extent. It feels odd that because David Ornstein, again, top journalist, saying that the agent offered him to Arsenal. Why would he say that if he didn't have the proper information to back that up with against his bosses to start with? It has to have some level of foundation, this claim. It has to. And if the agent is not just going to say that because he wants more money, sure, he can talk to Tonali and say, look, we can get more money here, or you can get more money, obviously, and get him. He's going to get his money anyway, regardless if Tonali cares about it or not. But Tonali is going to have to approve of this, obviously. So something has to be lurking around, and the fact that people were on about, the window's closed, Tonali's staying. That's a Band-Aid on a heart attack, man. Because something bigger is brewing for the summer window, and I don't want this Isak situation to happen again.
Is that maybe what it was? Because to be honest, when that story broke, it was literally transfer deadline day. It ran out at 7 p.m. Yeah. And I was confident we wouldn't lose Tonali because there wasn't time for Arsenal to break us down. That was the reason I was confident. Once a little bit of denial came out. But I wonder if it's just laying the foundation for a summer move for Arsenal. Because even Ornstein, there may be a touch of the Fabrizio Romano's there whereby some agent pays him to write a story. And it's not to buy him today. It's so things keep churning in the background as it did with Isak last year. And when it comes to the summer, mischief managed. The trick is, which I think everybody's got to agree was the issue last summer, if Tonali is spoiling for a move, get him sold early on.
Exactly.
Get the team replaced. Same with Livramento. They sat on their thumbs for too long over the Isak deal. I've said it many, many times. As soon as he said he wasn't playing in the Celtic game, they should have sat him down and saw if they could keep him on. And if not, sorted out a route out to Liverpool. Maybe, and I don't know this at all, but maybe if we'd have done that then, we'd have had a route to Ekitike and
but Newcastle played Billy
on Saturday night.
It felt like Newcastle played Billy Big, you know what? It was deliberate. It wasn't like it just happened. It was a mistake. It was deliberate. We thought, we as a fan of a club thought that we thought we
could turn one nose up to Liverpool and say, don't you think we're in the big league now?
And it came to find out
we are knackered.
We were knackered. I mean, because we lost both of them, and then the guy over the weekend, taking the mick. So it was a tough pill to swallow. Relive this past weekend, and the other guy on the bench, clapping about it. So it was a humiliation. It was humiliating to watch, to be honest.
It was very humiliating. But by the way, the other thing that Jeffers was just going on about then was the two summers ago when Eddie, had £70 million. Well, allegedly we only had 60 million. Palace wanted 70 million for Gay. If we'd gotten Gay for 70 million then, which everybody's saying overpriced, we would have had him. We would have had him in the squad for a 1.5 years now, and he's still gone to Man City for 40 million or whatever.
And I told you, he was a generational talent. Nobody listened to him.
10 million less.
But that's a great deal. If you think about it, that's a better deal.
And have you seen Gay dropping many bollocks like chow drops? That's why we got him for 35
No,
million.
no, relax,
Win,
relax,
win,
man.
That's why the
Win,
Relax. No.
hang on. That's why the Milan
no.
fan base were not at all disturbed.
What are you on about now,
Chow
man?
Win.
Are you seriously criticizing Chow?
How many
Of course I
games
am.
has Chow played in a row? How many has he played in a row? Has he been rested?
He hasn't been arrested since he started.
He's
It's
natural.
something
Alright.
like something like 35 games, isn't it?
How
Oh,
many?
lad.
Bruno,
Oh.
how many Bruno?
And then,
played?
and then what isn't helped that the
Oh, give
manager
out with you
instead
and
of
Bruno,
being-
man.
Bruno's running back and forwards, back and
he
forwards,
keeps
back and
playing
forwards.
old men.
Bruno's dropped many in this whole season, man. Many of them.
You remember the second goal? I don't know who was blaming Tiao because that's madness. You better blame Dan Burn and Kieran Trippier, the two old men, because Dan Burn's over there. Trippier.
No, Burn had nothing to do with
Shut
that.
up, man.
Whoa. Which channel?
Burn
did he
didn't
run
have the
on?
greatest game either,
Hold
you
on,
know, but
hold on. Why
along with
was
Chow.
Burn was poor on
So can
Chow.
I ask you guys, why was there only two people at the back? And why did the what's his name? Ekitike have the
But
whole right hand
again,
channel to run into?
Because Chow didn't cut across.
Because Chow didn't cut. So what? Is he Superman?
What do you mean?
Here's the thing,
Superman?
you
They
know
were
what?
left- they were a yard
Hold on,
apart in the centre.
Jefferson.
The reason I want to
Jefferson,
make this point, there's a reason, there's a method to the madness. Let me just finish this point. That whole right hand channel was abandoned because Kieran Trippier, not only has he not got the legs, but he's lost concentration because he's been sucked in by Verts near the halfway line, right? So if you keep playing old men because they're people you trust, you're gonna suffer. You got a young England under 18 international on the bench. Why don't you use him? I would back Howe if he took the risks and said, you know what, I'm going to go for this. No one's backing me. Let me try the academy players. No one can then complain because he's showing, look, you're not backing me, but you know what, I'm going to freshen things up. You keep going to the old men. They're going to let you down, man. How many times are we going to see this?
Well, I have to disagree with,
Come on, man.
well, listen, I didn't think Burn had the greatest games. I don't think Chow had a good game either. So, but we don't have to pin each other against each other. Basically,
No.
You know,
All I'm
they
saying
didn't have
about-
they didn't have a good
Chow
game.
is-
But Chow has been marvelous
He
this
has
whole
been
season.
marvelous, I agree.
Yeah.
But
he's
why are you
like-
comparing him to Mark Gahey? And we
Because
should have
the
gone for
Milan-
Gahey.
The Milan fans
Who
compare.
cares about him? Are you a Milan fan now?
Well, I'm not, but I was surprised when you could see how good he was. I was surprised we got him for 35 million. And
You're
the
out
Milan
your
fans
mind,
don't say-
man.
because he's got a mistake in him that costs a goal every game.
No, but he hasn't had
That's what
that.
we're saying. That's who we are. We need you need to get a 35 million pound Malik Chow.
I agree.
Up his levels a little bit, and because spending 60 million, 70 million on a Mark Gahey just doesn't fit our model, and we look stupid because the Mark Gahey doesn't come anyway. You know that's I think that's.
Well,
that's
except
the
he
kind
would
of
have come then.
unsustainable
He would have come at the time Eddie stuck out for him. If
I think he might have done, yeah.
If we'd gone the
I
extra
think-
5 million, he would have come.
Well, I don't know if it's as simple as that, but I think Crystal Palace were just stringing us along, if I'm honest, and I think it would have gone up by 5 million until we walked away. But it's. I'm not just saying, about Gahey versus Chow. There'll be a transfer like that this summer, and I think that's what everyone was kind of getting around. Like a player like Botman. What was he? I never remember the transfer fees, but he was
35.
kind of
35. Or maybe
Yeah,
32 actually with
I
add-ons.
thought it was 40
maybe.
something.
So
Oh, I thought it
you're
was 40
30, 40 million's about par. You go up to like 50 million, maybe 60 for your forward players. That's the sort of if you're buying those players, number one, you'll get them. Number two, they'll fit the pay structure, and number three, that's just who we are at the minute. And we've proved when we get players in that price bracket that they can make them work and they can increase their value. If we sell Livramento and Tonali, we'll be absolutely quids in on what we paid for
Yeah.
them, same as with Isak.
But the problem is, that's the problem, that we don't do that anymore. We don't do that. We do not do that anymore. We don't go. We did it with Chow, so perfect. That's one. And it did take a minute to get him, by the way, because we've been linked with him again during that Gahey saga. So a whole lot before that. So why don't we keep doing that? Why is it so hard for Newcastle United not to sign just a regular player that we can improve? Again, it has proven to have worked for us. Something is going on to where that doesn't happen.
What is so difficult about understanding that when we bought Bruno and Botman
And
and
I know what you're gonna
Byrne,
say. I'm just gonna say and.
what?
I know what you're gonna say. So I'm just saying and.
We
I'm responding to what you're about to say.
bought those players
Mm.
to get us out of a relegation battle. We didn't expect those players to take us straight into the Champions League. They were bought for a purpose, to get us halfway up the table or whatever. They exceeded all expectations by getting us to the Champions League. And now people think that's where we belong. Because
So we should be
overachieved.
So we should be mid-table. Is that what you're saying? Then? Mid-table,
you-
not getting relegated. No. I just asked you a question.
That's
Simple
exactly
answer,
what I'm
mate.
saying.
Simple. So we should be mid-table tops and not being relegated. So just right there with Brentford.
If you buy
and Bournemouth.
35, 45 million pound players for your first team, that's where you'll be. That's what I'm saying.
Wow, wow! And the fact that you say this the fact that you say this live on radio too is criminal, man. It's just
Terrible.
absolutely criminal. It's just terrible.
He bought Ross Wilson. He bought Murillo here. I'm just checking here. Murillo from Corinthians was 10.3 million. Right. Milenkovic was 12 million. You know, he was able to get players like Ola Aina on a free or Hudson-Odoi for 3 million. Like, this is being really creative, and that team got, you know, they if it wasn't for the
they carry on
efficient situation, they finished. Was it sixth?
Let me get the super chat.
They finished seventh.
Or was it seventh? They would have got Europa League, right?
They're in it. They got Europa League. They're in it, aren't they?
They got Europa League.
Hold on.
These are the kind of signings we should be making.
So sex level.
Baraka's here. All fan bases do that. If we sold many players, many of our fans would say he's not that good anyway. It's football fan. I'm not bothered. Techniques, says Baraka. Thank you, Baraka, for the super chat, mate. And I mean, look,
what I'm saying is those players now, they overachieved for Forest's first season, and we knew they were overachieving.
Everybody that
performances. Hang on.
No. Okay,
I've
finish
got
your
the
point. Go ahead.
crunch. Look where they are now with those players.
Why are they there, Win? Why are they there? What happened? Tell me what happened that changed everything. And the people in the chat as well.
Apart from
people got short memories. So who was the manager that got them in that position?
Apart from the board sacking the manager.
Exactly. So if they still had Nuno, they wouldn't be in that.
Rest my case, me lad.
No, but you bring up
you open up better than Eddie though, so we're not gonna go there. Like Nuno.
No. Relax. Nuno's not better. Nuno's not better than Eddie Howe, man.
The guy that's
Nuno's not better than Eddie Howe. Well, the first one is won one cup, the other one's won none. So that's pretty easy.
What, he spent 700 million?
But let's try to be balanced, man, because we can't keep going on one side to the other. It makes no sense. You know, we open up too many tabs. Talking about the manager now has nothing to do with what we're talking right now. Those players work. If you get those 30 million, 40 million players, they happen to work, man. They work for Brentford. Look at Brentford. What excuse do they have? They have literally sold their whole front line. And they're still
overachieving. They got Igor Thiago.
But the thing is, with your argument, Win, is that everybody overachieves in your opinion, except except just realizing that maybe they're that good.
No.
Aston Villa is overachieving to you.
You can overachieve for a given amount of time, and that's when everybody's pulling together. In Forest's case, with Moriakis and Nunes pulling together, and everybody pulling the same way. And the minute you stop pulling together, that's when you plummet. And that's and if you haven't got the players, the quality players, to counteract that demise, that's where you end up.
We got extremely good players, not just to save us from relegation.
You think they're extremely good players because they've overachieved in the past.
No, we got great players, man. So why did you want to give Gordon 170K weekly contract if he was overachieving? Because you believe that he was that good, right? So why would you want to give somebody that kind of money? Why would you want to put Bruno on that kind of money?
That's the market value, and if you don't give him it, he's going to go somewhere else.
No, I'm sorry, but Forest and Brentford are not paying that kind of money a week. Those teams that are fighting for to stay above relegation. Jamie, go ahead, cut in right now and speak some sense because I'm knackered right now.
We are knackered.
You're looking at it a bit black and white because it's like seeing there's expensive players that make a good team, and then all other players are mid-table in relegation.
No, I'm with you.
Like
actually.
Derek saying that. Yeah. Derek's saying that.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's identifying those players that are something in between that. Like again, we bought Bruno in that mid-season to fight against relegation. I don't know what was said to him or who persuaded him to come, but they should be doing every bloody deal that comes our way. We bought Botman and Isak in the summer with the promise of the next season being something better. And then we bought Tonali the next summer. And that was complemented with some really, really good deals like Dan Burn and Nick Pope for kind of 10 million a time. And you can still buy those, you know. Every player doesn't have to be a big gamble, but you need to pick that tier of player. Because what we tried to do last summer was go in at the top tier and we just keep getting gazumped. And you've got to have reality about that because I think there's 6, maybe 7 clubs making millions more than us. So our natural place is in the Europa League spots. I personally think that would be a good place to end this season because it doesn't take as much out your team as the Champions League. It's a trophy you can win. And it's a good place to be for a rebuilding season, which is what we need. And you need that level of players and you just need the ethos. We've had a good ethos at the club the last few years of everyone pulling in the same direction. And you'll maybe grow towards, with the core of very good players we've got, you'll maybe grow towards challenging for the title. The difference maker will be releasing enough revenue that we can push, that we can sign that extra player every summer. But it's not a case of like either you go in and compete with Man United for who they want up front or you're a mid-table team because you're going to lose out to Man United. You've got to be the best team you can within the realistic means of where we are, which is somewhere between, I guess, 6th and 9th.
Can I
super chat there from Andy Bell? So sorry,
we're going to be Man City and Arsenal to win a cup. People say it's a nothing cup.
The FA Cup.
We did it last season, kid. We did it last season.
Yeah, but we had to score 2 goals now from the get-go. Jefferson.
I just wanted to add what Jamie said because Jamie made a good point, and Iniesta literally took one of the things I was going to say. The play, as well as the profile of the players, if you notice, they were all winners. So if you look at Botman, he won the French league with Lille. If you look at Tonali, he won the Italian league with Milan. If you look at Bruno, he got to the Champions League semi-final with Lyon and won 3 trophies with Atletico Paranaense. Now, although Isak didn't win something, he was one of the bright stars of the Euros, you know, a real up-and-coming talent. So like the Trippier, he won La Liga with Atletico. So there was actual quality there and they were winners. So with that, you have a mentality rather than what we did this summer was, let's just get the best of the rest that, you know, the league might have to offer. You know, this guy didn't come, let's just get him. So there's no real insight into the recruitment. So I agree with what Jamie's saying. And just to add that context that these guys were actually winners. There's some pedigree there as well.
But that is why you got to be open-minded to many ways of getting players, and I don't think the club seem to be there right now. They don't because, well, first of all, what we did this summer was trying to compete, and we couldn't. I say that we, as far as fighting for a Champions League every season, that should be our goal, with alongside Tottenham, Aston Villa, Man United as well, because Man United are not fighting for the league. They're going to be fighting for Champions League. They're not good. They're not that good. You know, they're not the Man United they were, but they do have the money to persuade other players to come in. The problem is they don't.
And the clout, the kudos, and the.
They got that as well. But again, that's why my disagreement with you is about money, because you all talking about money. The thing here is, how much you spend on a player doesn't mean the value of the player. Usually it does, but it's not 100%. It's not 100%. Many examples will tell you otherwise, because we paid $50 million for Tonali, and Tonali is much better than what Man United paid for. Hold on. Let me finish my point, though. Tonali is an exceptional footballer compared to what Man United paid for Anthony, which are close to 100 million, I think. And Anthony is a reject. And they constantly do that. So money has something to do with it, but it's not the end all be all. You might get a player that's good for cheap, like Chow, once again, like Bruno, like all these players. So you can't just say we're not going to be able to compete if we don't have money. You have a point, but it's not the end of the world. That's all I'm saying.
They were the players that we were buying with this transfer strategy that allegedly wasn't fit for purpose. They were exactly the players we were buying.
No. But you're misinterpreting the point. I don't want to defend Paul Mitchell, but also what he meant was Newcastle United in the moment. He wasn't talking about when Isak came in. Remember, for 4 windows, we didn't buy any players after we bought Harvey Barnes and Tonali. We didn't buy anybody for a long time.
And
so
with regard to Tonali,
that's what he's talking about.
We got him for 55 million because he had a 12-month plan coming around the corner in Milan.
Well, that's an assumption. That's an assumption. Yep. Which you have maybe reasons to speculate that, but it is an assumption. We don't know that. Maybe I tend to lean towards that type of mindset. But at the end of the day, we got him for 55 million. So
Anthony was only 90 million, by the way.
Only almost 100, as I said.
You said 200.
Many players. No, I said 100, man. What? I didn't say 200. Only Neymar went for 200.
He can do that skill where you go in a circle. He can do that skill when you can go in a circle, though. That's well worth it, right?
All I'm saying is we've got to be open-minded. In the club, when Eddie Howe last week came out and said we're not really open to loanies, man, why not? That's one way of seeing if a talent will do a job is just loaning them out and literally see. You know what I mean? Just like we're doing Ramsdale, by the way. We were up for loanies with Ramsdale. I wonder why. And he's on 130 something.
There's two reasons for that. One is it's a goalie.
Well, you tell me when you know everything. You're in the know.
Specialist position, so it's completely different than any other position. And the other thing is, if a club...
But you're trying to justify that.
If a club is prepared to loan a player out, how good is he anyway?
Yeah, but see, again, these black and white, I don't know, I don't understand it, man. Because Cole Palmer was a Man City reject, and he ended up being Chelsea's best player.
It wasn't a reject, was he? He was like a PSR style Palmer.
They didn't want him.
But I agree with when the loan market's very difficult because there's got to be a reason why a club's got a player and they're willing for him not to be
say that about
if he's any good
a transfer fee?
Can you say that about any player that wants to be the club wants to sell him? Can't you say the same thing about any player?
Yeah, it's got to be a very niche reason why someone's available for loan as opposed to either being available for an immediate sale or the club just don't want him to leave.
Nwaneri, that's a great example in the chat.
Let's see what he does.
He's quality. Well, I mean, we've seen it in the Premier League. He's quality.
So who's he gone? Who's he gone to though?
Marseille.
So they wouldn't lend him to a Premier League rival, would they? They wouldn't.
I think they
probably Arsenal would lend him to us.
It's probably been done based on the fact that De Zerbi plays attacking football. That obviously they have a history of the club because I think what's his name? Saliba went on loan there as well previously. So they're looking at, all right, where can they get the most out of developing the player? But, obviously they've gone out of Europe and De Zerbi's been sacked. So we'll see. Or he left, didn't he?
So we're now looking at a situation where we take players on loan from the big six, grow them into proper players, and then they get them back.
Yeah. Well, and they are not going to lend us. No big six club is doing Newcastle United anything resembling a favour.
Well, maybe not, but I'm not talking about big six players. I mean, my point is you got to be open-minded.
Specifically about Nwaneri because somebody brought him up in the chat.
I think Josh Achimpong, we should have gone for him. I think when they talked about we've only got 25 million, I think Chelsea would have sold him because they're just businessmen. They would have seen that it made pure profit on their books because he come from the academy. That boy is going to be a big player.
Do you guys buy the notion that Eddie Howe came out today? I don't know if this clip is no. He came out and spoke about Sandro Tonali situation. Let's listen to Eddie Howe as he spoke about the Tonali situation. Let's take a listen.
There was no intention from our side to lose Sandro at all. I think he's such an integral player to what we're doing. I think he's very happy here. He loves playing for Newcastle and loves representing the city. Things happen without my knowledge. As far as I'm aware, we've got a player that's an outstanding footballer, an outstanding person. He's very happy here. He's got a great relationship with me, his teammates. Seems really, really happy within himself. He's always going to be attracting, or our best players will always be attracting glances from other clubs. That's just the reality of football. We want to keep the group together. We want to keep being progressive. And of course, Sandro plays a part in that, trying to hit his best levels and play as well as he can to help the team. There was no intention from our side to.
Yeah, so I mean, it's clear. It actually speaks volume of the club. I mean, volumes or just common sense. The fact that that we don't want to sell Tonali, I think is a no. It's a non-starter. I mean, you can't want to possibly. Although Mighty Win, we'd rather him gone than Bruno. But I don't want neither of them to be gone. I think Tonali is an exceptional talent to levels we haven't had. That's just as simple as that. Internationally, Tonali is regarded as one of the best midfielders out there. So we would never want to do that. But I also do agree with Jamie. If a big club come knocking, then we are knocking. If is the old phrase from Mighty Win when if Man City come for him, we are knocking. And we've been using that for a long time.
Tielemans free, McGinn 10 million, Rashford and Asensio on loan. Right. Didn't qualify them for the Champions League. Rashford's now at Barcelona with Villa having paid 15 million quid in wages for a season.
Yeah,
and Asensio is now paying
we loan Lewis Hallwin.
We pay people what they
with an option with an obligation to buy.
But we loaned him, so he must be.
That was basically a purchase. It was just the way they structured it.
But he must be rubbish.
We structured the loan deal because we couldn't afford.
By the way,
pay the money.
All I'm saying,
Matt Target. We loan Matt.
No,
Target.
we don't need. We don't need Matt Target.
Because Matt Target was surplus to requirements.
Yeah, but Matt Target was good in that 21 to 22 season when we went on that run.
Look,
finished 11th. He was good.
One player we're forgetting about is that Lloyd Kelly is killing it in Juventus, man. He's doing decent.
Yeah, and he was getting brickbats off everybody when we signed him.
Yeah, because the salary was outrageous.
Paul Mitchell gets the credit for selling him.
Yeah, rightfully so. It was a good
20 million.
Yeah, we got him for free.
But it was a loan, wasn't it? It was a loan.
No,
it's still a
free transfer.
No, free transfer.
What? No, he came as a free transfer, but he's loaned out to Juventus.
Yeah. His move became permanent in the summer.
20 mil.
Plugged him for 20 mil.
As long as Juventus finished top
that's true.
four,
That's true.
It was a masterstroke.
Yeah,
getting them on a free had nothing to do with Paul Mitchell.
But again, when you keep on
paying
going
him
about
120 grand a week.
This is the problem here. Hold on. Before I mute everybody here, the problem here is that you guys. Now that I've come to Newcastle, I met some proper people. We with Jamie, by the way. Now we win. Cause we win. I met Pookie and all of them from Biker. As opposed to with Jamie, proper places. I've come with some balance. You guys, you and Wynn and Jefferson it's like politics, man. You can't speak. You can't talk about it because it's one way or the other, one way or the highway. And I'm sick of it, man. It is because I'm sick of it. Because you just want your, going on about Paul Mitchell. And what do you gain from that right now? What do you gain from that? Let's talk about maybe what we should talk about is our DOF right now, because he's going to take some heat. The fact that we didn't sign anybody. And I know that a lot of these, as I mentioned, that Eddie Howe, seems like he wanted to say more than what he said. It may be also that Paul Mitchell wants to say more than, he hasn't said anything really, or no chance to say anything. But maybe, there's a lot of things going on in the back that we don't know. But there's one thing that's brought out as a common denominator out there. Maybe that's just a shield. But everybody talks about PSR. And PSR is the problem. The PSR is the issue. We don't have money. I do believe that Jamie tends to believe that. So you can clarify. I don't necessarily believe that because I feel like we got a lot of money for Isak that we haven't spent yet. I don't buy the nonsense from Win that you can amortize everything in that way because you're going to be living on payments your whole life. And I don't want 3 house payments. I don't want 3 cars payments. I don't think you can do that as a business just to do it. But it is an option. So what's going on here? Because I don't believe the PSR situation.
So you do. It's not that you amortize the payments. It's that they're amortized as a calculation for PSR for financial purposes.
Yeah.
So if you buy someone for 50 million over a 5-year contract, you don't give 10 million pound a year. You might give the 50 million up front, but your accounts report that 50 million over the duration of the contract. And that's a law. That's not a choice. That's the way that is reported. The cost is spread across the contract, and that makes up the transfer fee, the wages, and any add-ons. So that's how amortization works. PSR, I believe we've got money to spend, but I believe with squad cost ratio coming in, we can't offer the wages that other teams can offer. And we have a ceiling to what we can spend, whereas Man United have got like trash they can sell. They've got youth products that people will spend money on, and they've got, deals that Chelsea been doing, selling the women's team and the kitchen dumpsters and an old pair of wellies to themselves for tens of millions of pounds to buy new players. We can't do any of that. We have a ceiling, and it's got to be a bit of a balancing act. And it's completely feasible to see that when you see the revenue figures that get reported every year, and we are 300 and 400 million pounds behind those clubs. If you took any business model, like if I said to you, we're starting a fast food chain, we're making $400 million a year less than Burger King, but I want us to finish higher than Burger King up the whatever table measures it, you'd say that's impossible. But that's the task. That's what we are doing. That's what we are trying to take on. And PSR or squad cost ratio as it is now really does limit us like that. I would advise everybody when they put the end of year accounts out, read them, have a look at the numbers, have a look at how it's applied, because it's not going to make you think, yeah, we obviously can buy people. You can buy people every year because it's a rolling calculation. But there is very much a limitation out there that is real. We will be able to sign in the summer, but the wages is one thing, and we can't do the thing whereby when people say, oh, just pay the money, because if you pay kind of 80 million, that's potentially a third, a half of your transfer budget gone.
Yeah, but again, I was going to play the violin music on you because but you bring some great points, by the way. So I didn't do that. But yeah, you deserve that little. But anyway, so, but it's not a limitation to where you can't buy one player. So Howie, man, I'm not asking you to buy 80 million pound players, but you one player. But first of all, do we need players? Do we need players right now? I'm asking you guys.
Yeah.
Because maybe we don't. Maybe we don't, and we're just whinging for no reason.
We need players, man.
Who do we need? I want to know what positions do we need to strengthen.
We need
maybe that's the conversation we should have had.
We don't have any footballers currently. And
hold on though, Jefferson. That's an option.
But you're not going to let me get into it. So I don't know what else to say.
No, I don't. It's not. No. But the thing is,
we have, but no one wants to say it.
No. But that's a choice. You can't tell Pep Guardiola how to play. You can have an opinion on if you agree with him or not, which is you got your opinion on Eddie Howe and
you just said it. Pep.
No. Any manager has to have the right to play how they want to play. Now the club might say this is not working for me. This is my club. You adapt or you're going to be sacked. Simple. So, but the underlying issue is the club needs to make the decision. Jefferson. Eddie Howe is not going to say, you know what, my style of football doesn't appeal to fans, so I'm sacking myself.
So look at this panel. You could argue there's a bit of balance, although I think there's a bit of a culty in Jamie.
No, there ain't no culty. There's a balance.
Right, but I'm going to say there's a balance, right? Win is like the extreme.
He's an extremist. You're an extremist as well.
He's got a golden statue of Eddie in his...
And you got him right in hell.
I got a burnt effigy. Fine. Obviously, I haven't, but I'm just using the analogy, right?
So you guys on each side.
Jamie's in the middle. But at least in terms of the way you've recruited the panel, there's a balance, right? It's not all just wins. It's not all just me. There's a balance. So if you're only signing runners, people cannot pass the ball, man. We're crap in possession. Whose fault is that? If you've given him all the control of the recruitment, let's
But
start
here's the
pointing
thing.
the finger.
But let me ask you this though,
man.
because I agree that this season hasn't been a good season. It hasn't been, to be fair. There's no going around that. But there are good performances. But there are. Well, yeah, Wayne. I mean, we can only speak right now.
There was no direct football.
The problem is
why?
Hold on though. The thing is,
who spent the money? What's the profile of players that's come in? People.
But that's a choice, man. That's a choice. We can criticize a choice. The thing is, we have had good performances. Why can't we, or Eddie Howe, he's in charge of the team, make these players play like they do from time to time, like PSG in the second half, for example, not to go too far? Why can't we replicate? We did something similar, by the way, against Liverpool. Then we got knackered. So, I mean, but why can't he make these plays? These players are not rubbish, man. You're not going to force me to believe that Walter Mata is rubbish and Wissa is rubbish. And, well, Ilanga, we can talk right now. Although Ilanga is performing well. Ilanga is starting to perform decent now. So you can't, we can't just explain to me why some of these players can perform well one game and the next one, not talking about a week later, the next game, they give you a performance to where you believe, what the heck has happened? I need to know that. And that might be fuel for you to say, well, that's the manager. And you may have a point. But these players are not rubbish.
There's none of us. The trouble is, none of us can put our fingers on why the hell it's happened. You know why you're saying, who are we scouting? We only scout top players. And that's the point, because where we are now.
But that's a criticism to the scouting team, though.
To go there without having backward steps.
But Win, that's a criticism to the scouting team, because I can scout top players, man. You know, but the thing is,
before he's become a top player, don't you? You've got to scout a top player who's kind of on the way up,
and
let him become a top player in black and white. That's the trip, innit? That's the way forward.
That's the silver bullet. But the point is, you're not going to get one of them on loan.
Look at the profile.
Well, he's fixed. You see, I'm telling you, he's an extremist, man.
We've got Willock. Let's just say we've got Willock. Guys, listen to what I'm saying, please. We got Willock, who's a willing runner. He runs the channels up, down, yeah? You go and sign Jacob Ramsey. Yes, he's a little bit tidier on the ball, a little bit. He's got a little bit of a turn, a little bit of a touch. But again, he's a willing runner. It's the same profile of player. So if I was in recruitment, I would have said, fine, you can have Ramsey, but as his profile is very similar to Willock, you have to sell Willock or we don't buy Ramsey. What you need to do, you need to mix it up. So if you've already got a runner, we were linked with to El Canoes, who was only 20 million or something. Cheap. Someone who can pass through the lines, can play left side, can play attacking midfield, left central midfield. He would have given us something different. So it's like we're not smart in the way we apply the transfer strategy either. Do you get what I'm saying? We're buying too many players where we're reliant on power and athleticism. But when you're coming to the top echelons of football, if you notice, they've got something in the squad, they've got something in the team. They can mix it up. For starters, we're whipping balls in the box and our striker's 5'9". Now, if he was prime Les Ferdinand, who could leap above to the gods, I totally get it. Or Alan Shearer, we don't have that. So what are we doing here? It's not marrying up style of football and the recruitment of the players. We must look at this and who was responsible this summer, guys. No favoritism aside. Who was responsible this summer? Please.
Jamie, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I actually asked Alan Shearer, didn't I, Chris, how he would approach a striker situation.
That is true. We were amongst proper distinguished gentlemen, not like Wayne, man. Wayne was at the pub. He was having a good.
Excuse me, I was at the pub looking after your wife.
Yeah, that's right. Because she didn't, she couldn't get. Yeah, she's my lovely wife, who I love, and I can't wait to go down and eat because that's more important to me than this recruitment.
Steady.
Well, eat food, man. Eat food. This dude, man, he's always.
Oh no!
The co
Be
how
good for the radio, innit?
Nigga just
proves it.
Anyway, listen, you were mentioned, Jamie. You did ask Kanachira. That's right. What? Go ahead.
Yeah, and
Moving on quickly.
Yeah, I said to him, what would you do with those two strikers? And he basically, the gist of his answer was that they needed to grow in confidence. They needed to get more balls in the box for them. He loves a bit of that, does Alan? But he said, Wissa's just coming back from. Oops, we're keeping going. Wissa's just come back from the injury. Voltemore's just adapting to the league, but he didn't have a bad word for either of them or how they're progressing, really. And he just kind of, and then he said, "Do you want another pint, Jamie? Because that dude you with doesn't seem to be
there you
off."
go. and then I spilled, which I didn't spill Paul Dummett's pint, by the way.
Yes, you did. Kicked it all over him.
We just shook hands there, and he the one to let his can go, and he just spilled all over. But I bought him another one. He was drinking those posh cans, man. Come on, man. Anyway, it's just we were.
Were they mixed?
I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't even know what that. Jimmy didn't know what it was.
It was neck oil.
Oh, okay. Bit of Beavertown. Nice.
Oh, there you go. Paul Dummer was there, and then, we were just having a good time, man. But it just brings perspective into the whole thing, man. They wouldn't let Win in though. He can't get near establishments like that. He's got a record. So we but listen. The time's going flown by, man. We got 20 minutes left on the show. I want to get into some of these comments from the chat, of course, but also some quotes for Eddie Howe today, as far as signing.
The chat has gone in a weird direction about vegan food.
Yeah, I know. They've been going on. If you're watching,
my thumbs down. Don't know about you guys.
I know. No, that's I'm
vanilla
a carnivore,
pancakes.
Man.
Nice.
Come on, man. No, need chance, man. Come on, man. Something should be.
I don't mean vegan desserts.
Yeah, that's right. I don't mind vegan salad either. Keith Down. No, actually, I don't even like. I kind of like chicken on my salad, so never mind. Not even salad. Keith Down quoted Eddie Howe here, asking if it's a risk on not signing a player this January. Is it a risk? Yes, he said. I need to choose my words carefully here. We were left with no other option, really. I mean, what? That's right there, man. Like, what do you make of that? I mean, he wants to say more than what he's saying. He goes, every decision we make has a long-term implication. There was no guarantee even signing someone with the funds we had. The funds we had would even help us short-term. With the it is what it is. We have been used to working in these conditions for a while. We have only been active in one of the last 4 to 5 windows. Proving my point, Mighty Win. Exactly. We only been active this last summer, really, when we started being active. Before that, we didn't buy anybody from the Tonali and Barnes saga. We are under restrictions, and we have decided to wait until the summer when it's easier to recruit and there's a better value for money. That easier to recruit, that's not I'm not liking that. Because you don't need the window open for you to recruit, man. That makes no sense.
We need to sell. We don't sell enough.
Unless you guys can help me specify what he might mean in this particular case, but easier to recruit. You got right now. You should be recruiting for the summer.
But I tell you what I would have done. I would have done straight away. Offered 20 million for Willock, I would have had the hands up.
Well, that's exactly my point. I forgot that one. What do you guys think on that particular case? Because I feel like I just don't see a way around that. I mean, other than the manager wants Joe Willock, but I mean, what do you guys make of that? Because you're not getting more than 20 million for Willock, man. I don't know who believes that Willock for some reason turned things around. He hasn't. He has had good games, but that don't mean that Chris Rivers is going to
referring to the neck oil, which is manufactured by Beavertown breweries. Proves it well.
That's poor. That's really poor from him.
Come on, man. It's supposed to be.
It's turning on carry on radio, innit? Here,
No,
stop
man,
listening to match.
we're not.
Rated R. So come with a warning. Rated R.
Hey, I'm just
We're not-
plugging neck oil, manufactured
we're-
by Beaver Town Brewery.
We're not gonna last 1 month in this damn thing, man.
Oh man.
The email, the mail is gonna be full from everywhere. But anyway, so
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
well, I guess there isn't. That's right. But what do you guys make of Willock then, Jamie? Do you agree with us keeping Willock?
No, I mean, I agreed when he equalised in the Parc de France, which I made just in time, if anyone missed that, but just in time for the kick-off, because that was a tremendous moment. But yeah, it's. I think if you look back at Callum Wilson kind of 2 years ago, we should have sold him at a certain point, and I didn't think we should have done at that point. But he's ended up leaving for free, having been pretty much a passenger last season, barring 1 or 2 moments. And someone said there, Willock's likely to leave on a free, and it looks like that, doesn't it? Like, that's the chance to sell him. And I don't think it was quite 20 million, was it? Was it more like 15? But
it'll be
much I know was up
It was
to
22, I think.
It'll be really interesting to see how many minutes Willock plays between now and the end of the season.
Well, he's going to be playing a lot now. Well, he's
And
been playing.
because you can divide every one of those minutes by 20. Divide 20 million by every one of those minutes.
Here we go.
And you'll see how much it's cost us not to take that money. And
well, no, I agree.
If he scores a couple of goals that get us 3 points, then it could be worth every penny.
Yeah,
It's that flexibility where a couple of other people have suggested it as well, not just myself. Lewis Hall can actually play left central midfield, and you play Alex Murphy. You know,
Is Alex Murphy that good though?
He hasn't
People
had
watched him
enough
play for
time.
under 21s and said he's chomping at the bit for the first team.
we have to get out of this because every other team is doing it, and we're the only team.
Okay,
but
this is
I
the
agree
thing.
with that.
This is the thing.
I'm making excuses.
The thing with the youth team.
Aston Villa brought on their youth against that Greek.
Right.
Which team did they
So,
play in
Chris.
the Europa League? The guy scored the winner.
Go on, Jamie. Go on.
I think you need a show from people who actually watch the youth teams, because it's no use just saying play some good young players. It's what Chelsea do. It's what Aston Villa do. We need somebody, come on, who says, I've watched the under-21s play. I've watched the under-18s play. Do you know who runs the show every game? Do you know who looks head and shoulders above them? Who should be in the first team? This guy. Until then, it's just white noise. It's just
Right.
kind of saying
So-
we should go and buy a bunch of Argentinians, a bunch of short Argentinians because Lionel Messi's good. It's
Gary
well, a lot of
commented him
Argentinians
a lot,
are good.
doesn't
though.
he? Gary
But here's the thing though. Why is he a part of the team, man? If he's no good,
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Because listen, you might have a point. Perfect, but why is he on the team? Why does he bring him? I mean, does he really?
Who else you
Look,
gonna
if I'm
put on?
Alex, nobody. What do you mean? Who was? He doesn't even put him on. He put him on
Who
against
else you
PSG,
gonna
didn't
put
he?
on the bench?
If Murphy's not good whatsoever, at all, not even worth getting in 1 minute.
Well, he's got 1
Then
minute. He got 1 minute on Sunday.
Well, maybe
That's
rephrase
not
that. If he's not worth 2 minutes on the pitch, then maybe buy somebody, get somebody from the academy that's worth 10 minutes on the pitch. Like, but we keep
But he might
having
not
him
be a left
there.
back.
No, man, that's what I'm saying. That, like, I tend to agree with Jefferson on that, man. These players cannot be that horrific. Like, they just absolutely can't get in whatsoever. I don't buy that either. What happened to this Korean kid? He seemed great. He seemed good.
Well, he
Great.
got
I mean,
in
great. It's great. Great's a word, a difficult word to put it. You know, but
It does look
there's all
good,
these
doesn't
kids-
it?
Even DX agrees. Shahar should get minutes in place of Trippier.
Shahar. Why
He's
not Shahar?
he's
man?
under 18 international.
I agree with that.
Every other club is doing it. I remember when Maresca, they had the injury crisis, and they had to play, I think, Tyrick George and Achimpong. That
But
was
the
massive
only
risk.
problem with that
They
as
had
well,
no centre
the
back.
only-
They had no centre back.
The only problem with I mean, it's just this whole thing is a tough situation, man. For some reason, it feels like it does feel like that. Like the club is like the project is a bit weird at the moment. It's a weird aura around it. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if it's factual, if it's true, if it's just fans whinging. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but it does feel like something is off, and but we don't know. We don't know clear from what at the moment. We got last 10 minutes, ladies and gents. You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio.
You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
The voice of the Toon Army, ladies and gents. Last 10 minutes. Let's worry about the chat. What has the folks have been saying? Let's worry about that.
Just before you go on to that, Josh Ashcombe from
who?
Jeff was just being on about for Chelsea. Chelsea brought him on. They got beat off Sunderland.
Oh my God! Here's the Mighty Wings right segment.
Drew against City. Got beat off Fulham, and drew against Brentford.
But where are they in the league now? Where are they in the league?
Well, not thanks to Josh Ashcombe.
But they're doing all right, Win.
Yeah, they might have been doing a bit better if they had somebody better than him to bring on.
If you don't play him, you don't know. We can't keep using the excuse. Aston Villa, we can't say everybody's academy is better than ours. Every other manager's doing it, man. You got to do it. It's part of football. You got to.
By the way, we can definitely say every academy is better than ours.
Yeah, I think we can.
And you know
Maybe
why?
Not everyone, but
players that Mitchell bought ain't getting a chance either. Do you know how many people?
Everyone's a lot deeper than that.
How many people turned up to Cordero's signing at Cadiz? There was about 3,000 fans there.
It runs. I agree that. Well, I agree with Jefferson that has something to do with it. I also agree that. No, I'm not playing the violin for me, man. Come on. But I'm also I agree that it runs a lot deeper than that. But if it runs a lot deeper than that, then. So listen, everybody's in charge of something at some point, man. So when somebody's in charge of something, if it ain't working, so we met Harper too in this event. We met a lot of people, man. So Harper's in charge of the academy, and
I want to make another point.
Yeah, quickly, because we still in time for the fans.
Jose Mourinho got criticised for not playing any youth. I think when he first came, no surprise because he's a foreign manager, and he had to read that massive list of, I think it was 37 players that he'd given debuts to. Why isn't Eddie under that same scrutiny? There's always an excuse. The academy players aren't good enough.
You're seriously asking that question. I'm Eddie Howe now.
Anyways, let's go. Oh, man. Even Wynn said it at one point in time. We are knackered.
We are knackered.
Anyway, John O says the Saudi League is our trump hand, and that we refuse to use. All those players our owners own. How can Chelsea take players and the manager from Strasbourg? Blah blah blah. And well, that's a great point. That's a great point. I don't know. Again.
Well, Martin was saying that he's heard on good information that PIF are trying to sell all 6 Saudi clubs and hope to do so before the summer.
Yeah, we shall see. Golf and Jordy, every penny counts for PSR. Yeah, we are still talking sponsorship deals, but instead we will launch more retro shirts for fans to subsidize the PSR.
Is it true that the deal with Seller expires this summer? Ooh. And there's rumours that there's a bigger deal on the Wind.
5-year deal that was.
That'd be amazing.
I don't know.
Does it not?
Was it a 3-year deal? A 3-year deal, right?
We need to bring in an iconic brand that lasts for to the end of times. Like Chelsea got Samsung. You will always remember that Samsung or Siemens from Real Madrid. Well, maybe because the teams won everything. That's what people remember. Never mind it.
Maybe.
It could be that. Man United it was dodgy seeing them with the Chevrolet sign up there, man. It was American brand, but it was dodgy. But before that, they had not the Beckham one. The Beckham was another. But
was it Sharp?
No, it was
electronic company or
I can't remember now.
Vodafone they had for quite a few years, didn't they?
Yeah, but that was iconic as well. But later they had another one with Ronaldo. When Ronaldo was there, which one was it? Can't remember now.
That's how iconic it is. and how effective it was. You can't.
That's true. That wasn't a good promo. Anyway, let's keep going with comments. Dark Side of the Moon. Yes, we may have PSR restrictions, but I don't believe that we couldn't get at least one player. We are going backwards, on and off the field. And if we get another couple of injuries, we are knackered, says Dark Side of the Moon. Real DX. Chris is proving the voice of reason tonight. Exactly, man. I'm tired of the extremists. But I love them anyway. Jefferson and Mighty Win. The Baracus says Amanda didn't pay the money that saved us. Seriously, people really need to take some omega-3. Without PIF, we'd have gone down. How didn't improve anything until after the second big spend. Which, I mean, obviously, it's PIF money, but she owned the club as well. So, I'm assuming it was her money too. Maybe not the majority of it.
10%.
Gary here says, Mitchell never offered Isak a new contract. It was Amanda. Mitchell came in, said, why are we looking at giving him a new contract and we can't afford it? So said no. The Real DX says, I'd like to hear more from Jamie about the Paul Mitchell situation. Ooh. Quickly, you got 1 minute. Go.
Well, I mean, just go. What can I say? Just going back to that last comment, I would put the whole situation of this season goes back to that. Mitchell came in wanting to make a mark and chose it to be Isak that he kind of put his foot down with a little bit. And that caused a disruption that disrupted the whole summer and the whole season. And that's what I have to say about that.
That's poor. That's really poor from him.
No, that's good actually. That's good actually. That's good. I might say that's a good. But anyway, Jano says Daryl Barcola played against us for Marseille. He's 18. We were linked. He moved yesterday for 10 million euros. Jerry Jacquet was available last summer, 30 million. Yeah, well, there's a lot of players out there going around about that. Yeah, you could have a point. You got a super chat there. Put the.
Chris has an issue for the swearing. Slutzkopf.
We were sluice.
Sitting sluice, that's right, we were sitting sluice at the water
sitting there with proper fish and chip. Man, that was him. I told you, that was a dolphin sitting in front of me right there. Fried. I mean, it was. You ever been there, Jamie? Sitting sluice?
Yeah, it's just not far from.
Yeah, the whale and chips.
No, I didn't have the whale. That wasn't the whale, man. That was not the whale. That was a large fish and chips, but that was not the whale. Was literally a whale.
What?
I mean, it was huge, dude. It was as big as my keyboard. I swear. That fish.
Wow.
That whale must have been just. That was. I wasn't gonna finish that. Knee chance.
Some exaggeration going on here.
No, it was huge. That large fish was huge. Man.
The full sided cut.
No, but I did not have the whale, and that large fish was still huge, man. The whale must have been.
And the spare bit.
Yeah. The mushy peas, though, always a home run. Always a home run. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Paul Frampton says, what Win is saying is that the investment that was made in modern day football is what mid-table clubs does. 20-40 million is an average player these days. Well, I guess no complaints then, because we spend more on players, and the jury's still out on them. We spent 69 million. Let me tell you something. 69 million on Voltemata is a lot of money. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm saying he should be. He should be the main guy.
69 million for the current German international centre forward is a lot of money. You blow me mind at times, man.
I do agree with Win on that one.
No, my point is that's how much Frankfurt. Where did he come from? Stuttgart.
Frankfurt.
That's how much they charge.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of money for us, man. It's not a lot of money for us. 69 million pounds.
A lot of money for us.
All right then. So what are you on about?
Because that's us trying to get better, not buying mediocre 20.
I'm not criticizing. I'm not criticizing Voltemata. You actually do criticize him. You don't like him. I don't know why.
I love him.
No, you don't. If you love him, I hate for you to hate him. Oh my God.
I
love him. I hate for you to hate him.
There's always going to be a premium on strikers as well. I think anyone else.
And he had
a great season. He had a great season, a great summer as well.
Right, great.
Hey man, he is the most scrutinized center forward in the league for being provided nout all year. And he still made a few goals happen.
Happy birthday, Andy Bell.
Happy birthday, Andy Bell. Thank you very much, Queenie, for that one. Happy birthday. Last comment here before we go. War Captain says, War Captain Bruno, we got farther than we expected given the time and resources we had. It's hard to keep pace with the progress. Then that happens. Need more time and patience, in my opinion.
Is he talking about this show tonight?
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe so. A lot about there. Gallagher Brown says, preach, hold Bruno, Miley, the only ballers. The rest are legs, says Gallagher. Last one here before we go. Tracy Goss says, Eddie hasn't had a proper team behind him within the club, though. And that could be, there's a lot of reasons. There's many reasons, man. It's not just one. There's many reasons going on. And listen, at the end of the day, the only one that's going to be, well, I mean, the CEO will have to face the music as well against PIF. But if PIF is happy with him, then that's it. It's about what PIF sets as standards for the business. So it's up to them. Mighty Tab,
Mighty
Tab
as official fan club.
Happy 90th to win next week as well. No, he's a December.
I'm 99. I bet you remember when you would get 20 Rothmans for that.
That's right.
Hey, 199.
Anyways,
remember,
we gotta go. We gotta go, folks. Take care. Highway the lads. See you in the next one tomorrow. Match day live. Join us tomorrow. See you later. Bye bye. Take it to all the super chatters out there. Appreciate you very much. Thank you.